They walk in that room, they become yours. And you got this energy inside your soul that says, I am the number one determinant of the success or failure of my students. Hey, y'all, when you get back, kick some butt. I'll see you in the winner's circle celebrating your victory. Let's go. 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 Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you, everybody.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to week 255 of the AP and New Principles Academy. Let me see who we got checking in here. We got Constance Sherrod down in Mississippi, Pearl, Mississippi. We got Mona Obermolak in Orlando, Florida. We got Yolanda McKinney down there in Texas. We got Coach John Robinson checking in. We got Grace Castaneda. She's in Houston this morning. We got the good Dr. Rachel Edoekit from Maryland, checking in from Maryland in the building. We got Rodney Richardson, Hampton, Virginia. Takesha High is in Virginia. Robin Snowden, Harambe, she said, from Fresno, California. We got Dr. Rella Hicks down in Augusta, GA, as James Brown would say it. We got John Few in the building. EduTake is in the building. Let me see what she said. Have a YouTube channel focused on education policy. Next video wants to feature black women, female principals. Would anyone like to be interviewed? So y'all check out EduTake, and she wants to interview some black women principals. EduTake, she's coming in from YouTube, so check her out on YouTube. Marsha Poe is in San Diego, and EduTake is in Rhode Island. Elisa Rivera, Rhode Island. Let me see. That might be EduTake in a different channel. Let me see. AP Patrick Lawrence is in Connecticut. Lysandra Brackens is in North Carolina. Chancellor Davis is in Las Vegas, Nevada. Fatima Nelson is in Pennsylvania. Vanessa Zeskind is in Connecticut. Tasha Truesdale checking in from Atlanta. The good doctor, Sheikah Houston, is in South Carolina. And speaking of the good doctor, Sheikah Houston, Create and Educate is her platform, along with the good Dr. Tammy Taylor at 10:30 every Saturday morning, Facebook Live, preceded by Sean Hurt at 10 o'clock. Yours truly right now. And then on Sunday at 7 o'clock Eastern, Josh Tovar and Dr. Marie Moreno, who I like to say Mari Moreno, right? So that's Sundays at 7 o'clock Eastern. We call ourselves the Fantastic Four. The Saturday lineup is Super Saturday. Here we go. We got, and there he is, Josh Tovar, also known as MPA Jaguars. We got Stacy Joy in the building. Yeah, Boss Educator was taking care of business. I missed the second part because I had to greet my guest, but I'll check that out later on today. But she always got that fire. Otis Kitchen, Principal Otis Kitchen, doing big things, man. I see you. I see you doing big things. Keep on doing them. Dot McKeever Jeter is in the building, Calumet City, Illinois. September Devon Vance, Jersey, checking in. Bridget, maybe that is right. Bridget Harris is in the building. Good morning to you. Alicia Scott, Olive Branch, Mississippi, in the building. There's Principal Dr. Tammy Taylor. I see you. Kenya Williams, OKC, is in the building. You know I was in OKC a few weeks ago, right? Kenya, Principal Williams, went to see the Thunder, man. Ooh, sat in the fourth row and only paid $128. If I saw it set in the same seat at Madison Square Garden, I'm paying $2,000, which means I'm not going to that game, or I won't be sitting that low because I ain't paying $2,000 to see nobody play no basketball. So here we go. Lovely Faith T is in the building. I'm getting ready to wrap it up, y'all. I got to get started. Annette McMahon is in the building. Aurora, Illinois. Tracy Farris, I see you. Mary Baptiste, Miami, Florida. I see you. I see you. And I ended it with my wife. I see you. The Queen is in the castle. Kimberly Broughton Kafele checking in. We're going to end it right there. I see y'all, man. I see some folks on here. I know I got to stop y'all by saying formally to everybody, good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week 255 of the AP and New Principles Academy. Hey, y'all, you know I got that same question for you, but I ain't bringing that gloom and doom with it today. We're going to keep it up here today, right? As they would say, we're going to keep it a buck this morning. Hey, y'all, the same question, how you feeling? How you feeling? I'm gonna tell you, man, even when it's stuff going on in the world and it's stuff, but we ain't going there today. I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good, man. I woke up this morning just ready to do this, just ready. So I'm good. I'm on fire. I'm blazing. And I'm hoping that you're feeling the same way despite the world, despite the challenges of the work, despite whatever's going on in your life. I still hope that you're able to bring about a balance, some harmony, and despite whatever's going on, but you on fire nevertheless. That's so important that you find it, because it's somewhere in you, right? And you just got to find it. You got to put it in place, and then you got to stay focused on it, right? So good stuff. Let me go through my announcements. Someone might be saying, man, he's still talking about the wildfires in California. Yeah, man. People lost everything. Not only their home, the whole community. So continue thoughts and prayers to all the fam out there in Southern California impacted by the wildfires, man. Yeah, because I know we have people, our fam on the AP and New Principles Academy, who were impacted by that. So continued thoughts and prayers to everybody impacted, whether it be directly or indirectly. Secondly, let me just shout out my preceding week. My mentee, I hope she's on, Principal Shalette Pleat, out of Hamilton Elementary School in Schenectady, New York. I got a few mentees out there that I go out there. I'll be going out there for a little while, just working one-on-one during school days, man. That's probably the best part of this work. Not the keynote with thousands of people in the room, not the workshop where, just doing it's that one-to-one, man. That's the pinnacle of the work that I do. It is the 10,000 people, the 6,000, the 7,000 in the audience good for the ego? Yeah, it is. But I don't know how far that goes. But that one-to-one, baby, and you in the building with the person for like 6, 7, 8 hours, that's the work right there. That's the work. So I guess I'm saying, hint, somebody want a one-on-one coach, hit me up, right? So shout out to Principal Shalette Pleat out in Schenectady, but also shout out to Rise Up Academy in South Bend, Indiana. This is my second time going there. Spent 2 days there. Shout out to the principal, Francois Bayangana. He's from Rwanda, and just doing a dynamite job with his school. It's called an alternative school, but you won't get that feel when you're in there, man. You feel like you just in regular program with scholars doing big things. I just love being in that building. And then shout out to all them administrators that came out to spend some time with me that first night. Did a seminar with them on it was supposed to be on one thing, but you know how the spirit kind of moves you sometime, and you just go with that. So I just went with the spirit. So I couldn't even tell you what I talked about, because it was the spirit talking through me. Some of y'all understand that. So I can't. If you ask me, can you summarize your talk to the administrators in South Bend? And my answer would be no, I cannot. I don't remember. I just know that I gave through me. God spoke through me. Some of y'all understand me. Some of y'all like, what in the world is this man talking about? I know we delivered a powerful word, right? And I'll leave that right there. Hey y'all, welcome to the first timers, first of all. But if you are a first timer, the consequence is you've missed 254 sessions, right? We've been doing this since the first Saturday in May 2020. I have not missed a Saturday. Can you believe that? I have not missed a Saturday since the first Saturday in May of 2020. Man, I look older, but the good thing is that was during COVID. So I never had facial hair in my life, including what you see here. Like this is all COVID stuff. But during COVID, I didn't know I could grow a beard. I grew this bushy gray beard, right? So when you go back and look at that, you'd be like, no, Kafele look older back then. Yeah, I was, and nobody was shaving back then, so everybody just growing a beard. And I got like, oh my God, I can actually grow a beard. This is incredible. I didn't know. Because I was one of them guys that shaves all the time. So I kept a little something, just to keep me back in them 220 days. You know how that works. So yeah, so if you missed us, go to the YouTube channel, AP and New Principles Academy. All 254 are there, including today's, which is streaming there live right now. So 255, right? And then if you want to, if you had nothing better to do, you can just scroll through Facebook all the way to 2020 or Twitter. They're all there, but you got to go through all my other posts. And one of my boys, one of my guys, he said to me, we were on the phone 2 days ago. He said, Kafele, you sure do a lot of posting. I'm like, yeah, well, So yeah, so just go to YouTube, right? AP and New Principles Academy. Hey, y'all, July is getting here. The time is moving. July 15 and 16. Want y'all to join me in Raleigh, North Carolina, at the School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele. 2 days, 2 full days. Join me. You get a free copy of this when you join me, And if you're one of the first 50, we may already have 50. I don't know. I didn't talk to my business partner, but you get a copy of the Principal 50 as well. So if you're part of the first 50, you get a copy of this, but everybody gets this, the new joint. So what is my value instructionally to the teachers I supervise? So make sure that you register. Go to principalkafele.com, scroll down to it says Instructional Leadership Institute, because we're going to focus on instructional leadership. That's going to be the focus. So 9 to 4 on the 15th, 9 to 4 on the 16th. That's a whole lot of instructional leadership, but you will be ready to go back to your school with an elevated level of competence as an instructional leader. So join me July 15, 16, Raleigh, North Carolina. Getting there is very easy. It's not some big complicated airport like Charlotte, right? It's Raleigh. They just got one corridor, right? So just come on and join me. Speaking of such, once again, it's available. So get yourself a copy, man. I appreciate all of y'all that do. Y'all been keeping it very highly ranked in Amazon. I think it was number 4 when I looked this morning. It was number 2 last night. So y'all keeping it moving. So keep it moving, y'all. I'm trying to get this in the hands of hundreds of thousands of administrators. That's the plan, because I just believe in this content. I really, really do. You can go to Amazon, you can go to ascd.org, you can go anywhere you get your books sold, but that you buy your books, but just go somewhere and make sure you get that book. Hey, y'all, let me get to my monologue. And then I will be ready to bring up my guests. So my monologue today, how are you showing up every morning? Right? Again, my monologue title, how are you showing up every morning? What do I mean? This platform is for school administrators, school leaders, principals, and APs, but I'm well aware that there are people who are not principals and APs who tune in. So as I share these brief words with you, I'm talking to whomever. Whatever it is you do for a living, or whatever it is that you do that's important, how are you showing up in the morning? Let's break that down. See, in other words, who are you when you walk into the building? That's what the question is. Who are you? Let me hold up my mirror. I ain't even clean it off. It's smeared. Who are you when you walk into that building? And when I ask you that, I mean like mentally, emotionally. Who are you when you walk in? Let me speak for myself for a second. When I walked into those buildings, because I walked into 4 different buildings over a period of 14 years, it was personal for me. There was never a time in my career that I said, this is professional first and personal second. Because see, it was personal for me because being a teacher, being an assistant principal, being a principal was an extension of who I am away from the work. So it was just me bringing that person I was outside of the work into this leadership position, into this classroom teacher position, but not severing that from this new role I'm in. So therefore, I always make the distinction, you've heard me do this before, the distinction between Baruti Kafele and Principal Kafele. Like I'm Principal Kafele on here right now, but once I sign off at 2 o'clock, well, 1 o'clock, whatever it is, I'll morph back into Baruti, right? So, but Baruti is the root of principle. So it's not like it's two very separate entities. Baruti's the root. So now, now let's go back to the question. So now, how are you showing up? Well, I'm showing up as Baruti, but wearing principles clothes. So it's personal, then it's professional. So I'm not asking you to replicate me, but I'm asking you, who are you? So let's take it a step further. So you outside of the school versus you inside of the school. What is the level of equivalency, right? Are you morphing so much that you've left yourself behind and it's just you as principal, or is you as person still inside of you as principal, you as AP, you as teacher, whatever, or you as superintendent, whatever your capacity is right now? See, I ain't leaving Baruti home because Baruti's got a certain level of political social consciousness that he's got to bring to the classroom, that he's got to bring to the school. He can't leave that on the bookshelf and now you become this plain vanilla lack of substance person. See, I got to bring that with me. Well, that's where there's an overlap with Baruti and principle. So again, who are you outside of school versus who are you inside of school? Are they the same? Are they equivalent? Does one feed into the other? That matters. I'm asking you the question, how are you showing up in the morning? So let's go a step further. Not gonna get too deep because I got guests today. But your appearance. Your appearance. See, when I say your appearance, of course, I'm talking about your clothes, but I'm also talking about your posture. I'm also talking about your demeanor. I'm also talking about your presence. See, that matters too, right? So when you walk in there, despite whatever you're dealing with in life, like what are you bringing as far as your energy? See, your energy matters. Your demeanor matters. Your posture matters. Your presence. Do you have a presence? It all matters. These are things that you may not get in grad school, right? They all matter. So when I walk into that building, man, I'm going in there chest out, baby. Shoulders back, baby. Head held high. I'm going in there repping leadership. That's what I'm going in there doing. I'm repping leadership. I'm the leader. So I ain't going in there with body language that said, I don't want to be here, man. I can't deal with these freaking kids today, man. I can't deal with these freaking teachers today. I ain't going in there with that. I'm going in there like, yo, man, this is Super Bowl Sunday. That's how I'm going in there. How you going in? But let me just hit them clothes real quick for you. See, remember I talked about Baruti influencing principle, right? So see, my heroes, especially during them times, they still my heroes. But see, like, I love me some Malcolm, man. I just do. And I don't have a problem telling y'all that. But I also love me some King, man. Dr. King, El Haj Malik Al-Shabazz, Malcolm X. Those my go-tos, right? So I'm going in there like I'm stepping in there like King and Malcolm, man. That's how the question was, how are you showing up? I'm stepping in there like King and Malcolm. I seen all them videos how they step. I'm stepping in there like them. So guess what? I'm going to look like them, man. I'm not wearing school paraphernalia. I ain't mad at somebody that does. I'm just asking the question. The question is not, the topic today is not let me judge somebody. The topic is, how are you showing up? So Malcolm, I always saw him with a tie and a suit. King, I always saw him with a suit. I said it backwards, a suit and a tie, except for when he was leading the march. Then he got them overalls and all that stuff on, right? But so I'm stepping in there like King did when he getting ready to deliver a message, like Malcolm did when he getting ready to deliver a message, because I'm representing what they were about when I'm in there with them kids, when I'm in there with my staff. So I'm going to step like them. Some people, I even heard people, man, you step like Malcolm. I've heard that before, right? So I'm a step like that. I'm not trying to be them. I just want to embody them relative to the work that I do. So I'm saying all that to say, to ask the question, how are you showing up in the morning? Last point that I'm going to my guests, the transitioning process. See, the bottom line is you are coming from home. And I doubt you're being principled if you're home. Like it's let's say you married, right? Or you got your significant other in your life, your space, whatever it is. We ain't delving into all that. So watch this, y'all. You gonna be principled in your relationship? My wife, I can call her down here right now, and she'll tell you, she get on the camera. That ain't gonna work. I can remember when I was much younger, and I would be in like principal kafele space in terms of my head space, and I would start talking to her that way, right? And my wife, we were younger, she would be like, okay, bring it down. Bring it down, right? See, because she probably there laughing right now because that's not gonna work, right? So I'm hubby, when I'm home, right? But then when it was time to get ready to go into principal kafele mode, that's happening like as I'm getting ready, getting dressed, all that kind of stuff. Then I'm in my car. I'm mentally transforming. I'm shifting. I'm pivoting into what I'm getting ready to be when I walk into that building. And then once I leave, I'm going through my self-reflection, self-assessment, and I'm bringing it down. So when I walk through that front door, I left that at the job. Y'all see that? Again, I close. How are you showing up in the morning? It matters. How much? Exponentially. Enough said. I got guests, y'all. I got guests. Yeah, my wife put the smiling emoji on here. She laughing. So let me get my guest up here, man. I got 3 doctors in the building. Let me change my background here, man. I always do that backwards. Here we go. Bam. Hey, folks, the 3 good doctors. How you doing this morning? Unmute yourself. All y'all muted.
Grateful.
Yes. Here.
Show up.
Present.
On fire.
I'm glad to see y'all. I'm glad to see y'all, man. We got this topic. I kind of do a dual thing every Saturday. I do my topic, which in this case is you're the leader, but how are you viewed by your staff? But then on the other hand, I always ask my guests, send me a few talking points so we could talk about some things you're passionate about as well. So we kind of do a dual thing here. So let me read these bios to the fam out there. Do me a favor, as we always do, hit the share button, hit the retweet, hit the repost, tag somebody, text somebody, call somebody, hit up them Facebook groups, those Facebook administrator groups, and let them know we are here. Let folks know we're in an algorithm driven world. So that's the way we got to get down. We got first we got where's my order? Okay, we got Dr. Q, Dr. Quinice Miller, professor, international speaker, published author. I'm gonna read fast, y'all, so we can get through them quickly. Consultant, mentor, coach, and mom. Dr. Miller is driven by a belief that all children deserve a world-class education regardless of cultural or economic background. Dr. Q is currently an assistant professor of educational leadership and policy analysis, doctoral program at the University of Houston at Clear Lake. Even after more than 23 years as an educator, she continues to have a passion for teaching, learning, and leading. Her life's work is to inspire and encourage others to teach and lead with love by putting humans first. Her background is in English as a second language, bilingual education, and foreign language instruction. Dr. Miller has served served in leadership capacities such as assistant principal, senior manager for leadership development, and as a director in the Office of School Leadership. She has coached, consulted with, and trained thousands of leaders at all levels within school districts, nonprofits, and profit organizations with understanding the meaning of inclusive cultural and instructional leadership and its impact on developing exceptional leaders and teachers to better serve. And to add to that, she's an author of this book. I ain't gonna read the whole title. The Art of Giving a right? The Art of Giving a You can go to Amazon right now and pick up your copy. The Art of Giving a right? That's That's an important read. So get yourself a copy, and then you can also go to YouTube. She's done a TEDx, so you can go to YouTube, put in her name, and you'll see the TEDx that she did on a lot of what she's going to talk about today. Let's go. The art of giving we got Dr. Monique Jackson Dickens in the building. Dr. JD is a servant leader and serves for her scholars as the proud principal of Wings Academy High School in the Bronx, New York. I was there a few years back. She is a native of the Upper West Side of New York City and currently resides in West Orange, New Jersey. She received her Bachelor of Business Administration and Public Accounting from Iona College, now University, which is in New Rochelle, New York, and holds a Master of Public Administration from Baruch College and a Master of Science of Teaching from Pace University. She recently graduated from Concordia University, Chicago, with a doctorate in education leadership. She's a member of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated and the immediate past president of the New York Alumni Chapter of and a lifetime member of the National Council of Negro Women. You're the second one this in 2 weeks, as is my mother, who's watching. Prior to teaching, Dr. JD spent 15 years in corporate America, working for several Fortune 500 companies as a staff accountant, accounting manager, senior finance director. In 2008, she left the boardroom for the classroom and joined New York City schools as a New York City teaching fellow and becoming a high school math teacher, teaching algebra, geometry, trigonometry, and calculus. She then became a math lead teacher, assistant principal, and now principal. Her educational philosophy is that a child's education should not be determined by their zip code. While working in one of the poorest congressional districts in the United States, she strives to make sure that her school educates the whole child. She ensures that her school community provides wraparound services to students and their families. And finally, she stands on the shoulders of Wings Academy High School former principal, the late Mrs. Tawana Williams Gray, who I knew, and who she met in 2019 when she joined Wings Academy as an assistant principal. Dr. JD was appointed principal in 2022, and every day she strives to provide her scholars with academic, career, and social opportunities that will enrich their lives to become productive citizens. Great stuff, great stuff. We got one more. Dr. Chantel C. Lewis has dedicated over 20 years to public service and education as a principal in the Lorraine City School District. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education from the University of Akron, 2 master's degrees from Cleveland State University, and a doctorate from the University of Dayton. Under her leadership, Larkmore, I hope I pronounced that correctly, earned the Ohio Department of Education Momentum Award in 2015 and the PBIS Bronze Award in 2021-22 for fostering a positive and equitable school environment. Beyond her professional role, Dr. Lewis is committed to educational equity, serving on the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Ohio Advisory Board, teaching as an adjunct professor at Ashland University, and contributing to the University of Dayton CAS Advisory Council. She's a former East Cleveland City School Board and Council Vice President and Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated member. She has been recognized in Who's Who among America's teachers, Who's Who in Black Cleveland, and Cambridge, Who's Who among executives and professionals. Above all, she cherishes her role as proud mother to her first grade daughter, Sydney. Great stuff, great stuff. We got 3 powerhouses on here, y'all. Hey, once again, fam, out there, hit the share button, hit the retweet, hit the repost, text someone, call someone, holler at somebody, and tag them Facebook leadership groups. Let them know we're here. We ain't playing. We ain't never playing. We ready to go. Hey, Dr. Miller, let me start with you. You're currently an assistant professor, among other things that you do, of educational leadership and policy analysis doctoral program at the University of Houston, Clear Lake. And you've trained thousands of leaders at all levels within school districts, nonprofits, and profit organizations. My question, given the multiplicity of facets of school leadership, what's that one? Because you've been in a lot of capacities. What's that one area that you said you deemed, if the leader doesn't get this thing right, it can undermine everything else?
First of all, I'm going to go back to what you were talking about in your monologue, right?
Oh, yeah.
If the leader doesn't get themselves right, it can impact everything because, like what you said, and my favorite quote, Brene Brown, who you are is how you lead.
Mm,
So the leader has to be able to put up a mirror, see yourself, see your strengths, see your gaps, see all the things and fix it. You got to fix you as the leader because when you are whole, when you are well, when you are clear, when you are disciplined, when you are accountable, then those things will then uh, put themselves into the work that you do, right? And so if the leader doesn't get themselves right, then everything else, will be gravely impacted.
mm.
Gravely impacted.
Before you keep going, let me say to the fam out there, the fire has begun. You better call somebody, man. This
You better call
yeah,
somebody.
you better text somebody or tag somebody. We here. Go ahead, Dr. Q.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that that's it. And so, as it relates to leadership, I think that we have to be real clear that that the work that we do is service and it's not about you, right? You got to get you right, but it's not about you because when you have to get you right so that you are actually serving the people that God has allowed you to lead, right? I think that was probably one of the biggest ahas for me, specifically as a principal, because you've got not just the scholars that you're advocating for, that you're responsible for, but you've got your teachers, your staff. And a lot of times principals forget, yeah, we love the kids. We all love the kids. We all need to be here for the kids. But when you step into leadership, your teachers, your staff, those become the people that you need to begin to invest in a very different way than you did before when you were in the classroom, right? And then you've got your communities. Like it's more than just one stakeholder that you're going to be responsible for. So as the leader, right, everything that you think, your vision, what you say, all those things begin to impact when you disobey what the true leader tells you to do and you want to do what you want to do because you got the title, you in the position, your name is on the roster, on the board members roster, then you want to do you. It's not about you. So you have to be very clear and understand who's truly leading, right? Being obedient to what that leadership and that direction is, because you got souls in your hands. You got souls in your hands. And if you can't put yourself aside, you can't put your ego aside. If you can't understand the ministry of it, then you need to do something different.
Yeah.
You know what? You got me all fired up
On
already.
fire. You're on
Let me
fire.
put myself on mute.
No, you good. Let me real quick, Latoya Moore. You asked, is it recorded? You're watching from YouTube. They're all recorded. So all 255 are on that channel that you're watching. So just look on that where you are right now. Look for where it says AP and New Principals Academy. You click that, and that's the channel, and then you'll see them all. Right. So yes, we recorded. Let's go. Dr. JD, you spent 15 years in corporate America.
Yes.
That's a long time. And as I read it, I had a question for myself, and I said, I'll just wait until we get on, and it'll be my first question to you. To make the transition from something that's so radically different from what you do now, did you get to a point where that was just an abrupt shift, or while you were in that work, was it beginning to eat at you that this is not where my calling is? I want to be in the school, and I want to teach, and ultimately it became what it became. Talk to us about that transition.
Absolutely. As I was, climbing up that corporate ladder and kept hitting that glass ceiling, I had an elder in my village and said, you know what? It doesn't matter what title you change. You're not, where you're supposed to be, because the man above is letting you know this is not your calling. This is not your calling. And because I know when I grew up, I did not have teachers that looked like me, it was time for me to go back and give back to my community. And what I wanted for my children of color is that I want them to be able to go where they wanted to go, work where they want to work, live where they want to live. And in order to do that, they needed to have a solid foundational education.
Yeah.
And so it was time for me to say, you know what? I hear you. Because sometimes, we keep fighting against that grain. And it's sometimes, we just have to take a step out on faith. And so, yes, I did leave that 6-figure salary to go back and to become a high school math teacher. And then it wasn't enough there. Then I had to keep going and had to keep going. I became an administrator. And here now I'm a principal. So I want to move school communities because our school communities are the hub. Schools are the hub of our communities. So if I can go in and change the culture of my school communities, I can help my children, my families, move them out of their economic situations. And we know we're changing lives and we're changing communities. So yes.
Love it, love it, love it. Let me go to Dr. Lewis on this one. And from your bio, Doc, 2021-22 school year, you received a PBIS Bronze Award for fostering a positive and equitable school environment. What stood out for me most there, beyond the award itself, was the word equitable. And folks who are regulars on this platform, they know that I talk about that a lot in terms of just the pushback, if not the elimination of that word equity. I say that equity is probably the most controversial word in education, but simultaneously one of the most important, if not the most important word as it relates to a student's experience in a classroom and a school. So with that said, describe for us what is, in the eyes of Dr. Chantel Lewis, what is an equitable school environment? What does that look like? What does that feel like?
First, let me give a disclaimer. One, got a cold. Secondly, my daughter's in 3rd grade, and if I don't say that, she gonna get me.
Yeah.
Well, you got an 8-year-old, she'll get you. But let me say this: my parents are from the South. Okay, I'm gonna just want to start with the historical. Okay, back you mentioned Martin Luther King, you mentioned Malcolm X. Education is a passport to our future, is up for us to prepare for it today, right? And so you have my mother, who brought from Birmingham, Alabama, who had to walk to school for miles, where they purchased a bus in the neighborhood for them to get on the bus to go to a city school. And Denise McNear, many of you probably don't know her name, but she was one of the 4 kids in her neighborhood that was killed by the Birmingham church.
September 15, 1963.
Yep. At that present time, they wanted equality. They just wanted to be equal. They wanted to go to the other schools. Okay. For me, growing up like that, it was always instilled that no matter where you go, I started off in an all-black school, went to a Catholic school where I was not that many minorities, and I was counted on my fingers. But we were equal, right? We were so equal that my mother was paying for me to go to a school when a nun told her, your daughter needs to go to college at a community college, right? But we were equal. We were equal. So as we transformed, and I, 12 years ago, got assigned to a school in Lorain, Ohio, which is the northwest of Ohio, where I was the only Black staff at that present time, that many of them seen. Majority was white. Majority of the students are white, and they still are white. And a few Hispanic educators. You got to think about more than just being equal, right? Being equitable. People don't like the word equitable because you're giving people opportunities.
Yeah.
It's the opportunity. Now we could be at the table because we're equal. Just like, and I won't get on my tangent, but everybody want to go back to states' rights. Bring the United States Department of Education back to states' rights. But I always say, a Jim Crow law was a state right in the South. So I say equity for me, one, diversity, because we got to have diversify America. Because right now we have when the census come out, 44% of white Americans would be and you have more Hispanics than it will be, or mixed races than it will be. Okay, African Americans. So sadly, we only 13.7% in the United States. We haven't grown in decades. But that's a whole nother conversation. But equity to me, I'm bringing you the opportunity because someone mentioned it is a civil right. Education is a civil right. And it always has been a civil right for our children. And no matter what children you really have, you can have children who you right, zip code. You see the zip code. If I say the zip code to my neighborhood, you're going to be like, oh, let me give a demographic. She's going to be this. Oh, let me just say she's this and she's this, she's that. But right now, I'm with you guys, similar to the other people in the United States. 2% of us only holds a doctorate degree. So having being equitable, and I did my dissertation on educational equity, we have to bring opportunities to the table for everyone. Many school systems did the DEI, but 78% was ran by white people. So what are we going to do to make sure that all our children not only have one size fit all, but create a student-centered educational system where everybody is at the table receiving what they need?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to pause because I know Dr. Q going to be on fire. She look at me like, girl, let me come on in. You're doing that rock, right? But you told us to pause.
No, you good.
I'm going to use the power of pause on this because I know you got a lot on that table. So I'm going to pause it just like everybody else.
Yeah, but if you had something else you wanted to add to that, I want you to go ahead.
No. Because we got so much on this table, on this platform, that's going to make people think.
Yeah.
I'm here with some successful women that the world had counted us out a long time ago. Okay?
Yeah.
Because I just told you, in the United States, African Americans is only 13.7%. Okay? So I'm going to pause because we have a lot on this table, on this platform to talk about.
Yes, ma'am.
Equity, inclusion, and for people not to want that makes you want to scratch your head. Why not? And for people want to bring things back to the state, again, Jim Crow law was a state mandate. So how long are we going to take that to go and run and try to do what's best, especially for our Black and brown children, who we can have all the opportunities, but we still have to fight. It's for us, Dr. JD, you said glass ceiling, we got the concrete. Yeah. So we have to make sure that we are giving our children what is needed. When you show up, you said you show up. And I always tell people, I go back because here my little Southern belle, sometimes I get into it. I'm a little rough around the edges.
Don't worry.
But my grandmother used to say, study yourself. It's not reflecting, but study yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Study yourself on how you going to come in the door, making sure that not only you are making your people looking at you to want to have that, like, I want to be that person. Sometimes you look at educators, and this is the only educator they probably seen or professional dressed person they ever seen in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But as an educator, we sometimes have to use that power of pause and study ourselves. But for me, I take 45-minute commute, so I could come prepared all the time. I de-escalate all the time, okay? But I'm going to pause because I'm ready. I'm on fire with the rest of the ladies, so we could just chime in. I'm ready to lead with love.
There you go.
Put it down on the table.
Lead with love. Good stuff. Let me transition. I got a question I want to ask all three of you, actually. I'm known to say on this platform and away from this platform that staff is not necessarily following or even walking with who we claim to be. They're following or even walking with, if they are, with who they perceive us to be, right? So we could think we up here, but staff may see us somewhere way down here. There are implications with that. And last week I did a whole monologue distinguishing brand identity from brand image. Brand identity, for the fam out there, just in case anybody needs a quick refresher, is simply who you have constructed yourself to be, who you perceive yourself to be. That is your brand identity. But your brand image is who your staff perceives you to be. When they're not aligned, then we got issues, because your staff is not going to follow who you have claimed yourself to be or constructed yourself to be. They're going to follow what they see. So with that said, I want to go to the three of you. Dr. Lewis, I want to start with you. What are your thoughts on the alignment? And let me give you this further context. Our topic today, you're the leader, but how are you viewed by your staff? So this question is asked within the framework of that question, that topic. What are your thoughts on the alignment of a leadership brand identity and brand image? Tell me what your thoughts are relative to what I just said about the two being aligned or unaligned.
Well, I think, and I live on the motto, you brand yourself. You can't wait for nobody to brand you. You have to brand yourself. So everyone on this table, they have worked hard to brand themselves. And we mentioned, Dr. Q mentioned Brene Brown of Dare to Lead. I'm going to use her Dare to Lead. Dare to Lead in reference to being vulnerable. Sometimes we use this imposter syndrome when we're not vulnerable. And we think we have to be this perfect image, especially Black women. You know, I know that for myself. I live the imposter syndrome. Like, everything's fine. You know what? I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And sometimes I have to use, like I said, use that power of pause. And that emotional intelligence that comes in, my self-awareness. I have to be self-aware of what I can do and what I can't do. I got to be vulnerable to people like, hey, I'm real too. So when the parents come in, and they cursing me out, believe me, they curse me out all types of language in the brain, okay? And I'm listening to them, okay? And I want to go off, but I have to do that power of pause and say, you know what I'm saying? I am human too. Like my mother always says, well, God passed our feelings. He didn't skip over me. But allow me to let you know this. When you brand yourself and you're real with yourself, because you studied yourself, you real with yourself, you studied yourself, people would trust you. So when I brand myself, I'm not saying I'm the perfect person. I'm not saying I can remember everything. Sometimes the closer I get to 50, the closer my working memory ain't that sharp. But I let people know I am human. And a part of being human, people respect that. They got to respect who you are in order for you to have a brand.
Yeah.
And in order for you to have a brand, you have to have that self-awareness, which is that emotional intelligence, and leave that imposter syndrome where it's at. Because you can't do it all. I tell my staff, I cannot do it all. And I'm not even going to pretend. If I get 2 things done that is needed, I am proud of myself on that day. I am proud of myself. I don't put more on my plate than I can handle. I don't put more on my capacity than what I can handle. And I'm good at saying no now. And I don't care what people say. Oh, she's not a good principal. She's not this. You know, she thought she can do. No, I can't. And I let everybody know. I told my staff, I got your back. And they'll tell you this too. I said, I don't care if, as long as we're together on that same line, we could be singing 1 or 2 songs. We could sing Kumbaya or Blue Suede Shoes, as long as we singing the same song. I tell them that. And I got a loaf of bread to feed, and I got to feed 450 students that comes across Lorraine. And it's so funny because people, you think that all parents don't want a good education. It's always the parents' fault. Let me tell you something. If they see good education and they see people who are trying for their child, how can they get mad at that? And that's how you brand yourself. You get rid of that imposter syndrome. And let me say this. sometimes that ego come in, and let me say this, Beyonce, you said it right. Sometimes we got such a big ego, especially when you're Black and you part of 2% with a doctorate degree. Okay,
Yeah.
sometimes my head can be so big. My mama said, "You better blow that." My parents said, "Blow that head down now, blow that head down."
Yeah.
But that imposter syndrome tells you that what you think, and you live in these delusions of grandeur where you need to be. So I say this to say, branding yourself is one. And how do you brand yourself? You study yourself through those emotional intelligences.
I got to ask you this before I move to the next person. You said earlier on, you got to respect yourself, but you got to get others to respect you. My question, given what this platform is, not a show, but an academy, and there are people on here who are looking for answers. I have to assume, Dr. Lewis, that there's a percentage. It could be a small percentage. It could be any percentage of people who are in buildings right now as either principal or AP that have members of staff, if not larger groups of members of staff, who do not respect their leadership, right? And thereby do not respect them. I want to ask you, because I know you know, what steps do I need to take to get staff to respect me if they're not respecters of me or my leadership right now?
I raised my children on disrespect would not be tolerated in my house. It's so funny that you said that. I had this little boy, he was 9 years old. He was just screaming at me, and I was on the phone with his grandmother. And I said, wait a minute, who are you talking to, right? Grandmother, who are you talking to? You don't yell at my grandson. I said, let me tell you something. Disrespect will not be tolerated. And what I mean by that, your self-awareness lets you know your self-worth. That's one. Clear, I'm going to go by Brene Brown. Clear is kind. I'm going to let you know what I'm very clear that we may not like each other, but we got to respect. I think we have no other choice but respect each other. And when you build that respect, like Robin just said, St. John, I got to give you that. Robin just said in the chat, respect builds trust. And you're right. It builds trust. So first you have your self-awareness to let you know your self-worth. I don't care who you are. You're not going to yell at me. You're not going to fuss at me. Here's my brand. I'm letting you know that I respect you. You respect me. If you can't, we can come back on a different day. I'm not taking it personal. We can come back on a different day and we can talk about it. But it's a non-negotiable when it comes to you disrespecting me and I'm disrespecting you. Okay? So going back to that, vulnerability brings trust. Clear is kind. And I set forward with clear as being kind because I was not raised to disrespect people. And I don't believe people should disrespect you. But we all have our moments, right? We all have our moments. We're not human. We're human. Okay? I make mistakes every day. I tell people I'm a broke clock. I'm only right twice a day. You know, a broke clock could be 12 o'clock twice a day, right? So I'm only right twice a day. But I will say this, that respect is just it's a minimal in just meeting people. So I believe I'm clear with that. I'm gonna close with Brene Brown, clear is kind. And my vulnerability brings trust. And I have emotional intelligence to know my self-awareness of how I present to people.
I love it. I love it. Dr. Miller, let me go to you. I know you probably got a whole lot to say in addition to my question because so much was said. But let me just throw the question out there. What are your thoughts regarding the alignment or the unalignment of brand identity, who I think I am, versus brand image, who the public, in this case staff, perceives me to be? The floor is yours. I know you probably want to chime in on Dr. Lewis, and feel free to do so and hit me up with that one I just gave you. Floor is yours.
She got me over here taking notes. You see,
No,
because I came here to learn. You understand? I came here to learn. But let me talk a little bit about brand because I love the question, and I think it's one that leaders need to be very, very intentional about. And so I remember when I began to even think about the word branding, right? And so as I was going through it, I had just finished my book and I was just going to release the book. And I remember I had a colleague that was like, no, like you need to release your brand. Yeah, that book, The Art of Giving a Shh. Hashtag, you got to care about the people that's in front of you. Okay, but all right. But I remember him saying to me, no, you need to release your brand. And I was like, brand? They're like, yeah, who are you? People don't need to know what you've done. They need to know who you are, right? And so I end up coming up with the brand. My name is it's my name, but it's also my brand. It is my name and it's also my brand. And so Quinice, first of all, I come from a single family home. Now I have an amazing family. I'm a village child. I am the supreme person that was raised by a village, and it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I come from a single parent home, and like Dr. Lewis said, people like me was already shut out. We were counted out. And not only am I part of that 1.52% of those that have doctors, también yo puedo hablar en español, también yo he hecho muchas cosas en esa área. Like I didn't just stop at one place, because I am here because of a teacher. I am here because of what an educator thought and saw in me, right? But I digress. Going back to brand, because who I am as a person, a Black woman from a single family home, right? Who has been able and been blessed to do so many amazing things in this work and bless so many people. That is who I am. And so what I do is I go into spaces to begin to encourage and support and cultivate that exact same thing and make millions of me. People that thought I couldn't, but now I can't. But I did, right? So that's who I am, my name. And it's also my brand, what I do. And so I want to be clear, because as leaders, you are always representing a brand. You always are, whether you intentionally are doing it or not intentionally doing it, right? And so I remember people used to say, protect the brand. And I'm having to learn that, Dr. Kafele, me and you've had some discussions about protecting the brand, because who you are, depending on what people are fed in their ears and their eyes and what they see on social media, those things have become spaces where people dictate and determine your brand, right? And so you have to be real careful. And as leaders, we have a responsibility. I'm going to say it one more time. As leaders, we have a responsibility to create and to create a space where people are perceiving us as strong, as kind, as effective, as successful. Why? Because we're leading the way. So we can't do and be what everybody else can do and be. Right. As leaders. You don't get a chance to just go and put ridiculousness on Facebook and go and hang around with this group of people and go and no. Why? Because you're the leader, and too much is given, much is required, period. And if that ain't what you want to do, if you're not okay with, well, let me be human. No, you are a leader. That's what we are. Yes, we are humans that lead. We are humans that lead, because best believe I have my stuff. Right? But it is my responsibility to look at my stuff, to fix my stuff. Why? Because I'm the leader. And everybody don't have to do that. But when you sign up for the work, you sign up for the service to other people. So it ain't about what you want to do. I don't get to do the stuff that I want to do all the time. Why? Because I lead. Now, let me go back. So we're talking about branding, and I think that I have 4 points that I want to quickly hit on. The first one is being authentic. Because when you are authentic in who you are, there is no discrepancy of what I am and what I'm perceived at. You have to be authentic. I remember when I got my first principal job, Dr. Granita Lathan. I'm not sure if any of you know who she is, but Dr. Granita Lathan is the person that hired me. And it was the very first time, that she said, Quinice, like, just tell me about you. And I remember in that interview, it was crazy. I cried in the interview because for the first time I just released and was like, I love children. I love this work. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. It ain't nothing that children can't do. And I'm trying to be at the head of a space where I can get people to believe like I believe so that they can do, so we can create more of me's and more of them's. I remember just letting go and being Quinice. I remember letting go and being Quinice, and that was my first principalship. I was scared. I was like, I am not about to get this job. but but it's important because God made us specifically for a specific purpose. And it's that purpose that we have to be able to operate in and not worry about what people want us to be, what we think people want us to say, how we want people. No, 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 no. When you're clearly operating in the purpose in which God has put you in to this work and in this space, be you. There's a quote that says, I sometimes teach what I think. I often teach what I know, but I always teach who I am. I always teach who I am. I always teach who I am. And I tell teachers and I tell leaders, listen, don't come in here faking the funk, especially in the classroom.
Well, your nose
Don't
got to
fake the
grow.
funk. When your nose got to grow, don't fake the funk. Why? Because if you don't like kids, it don't matter how many I love yous and oh, come on, team, and oh, I just love this work. It's gonna show, and you're gonna teach it. It'll show up in the expectations you have for them. It'll show up in the justice that you have in the spaces where they are. It'll show up. You always teach who you are. And as a leader, when you think, yes, listen, don't get me wrong. Some teachers can be thrown off, okay? They need help. That's why we're there. Some teachers need help. They need development. They need growth, right? However, if you don't ever think that they can, they won't. There's no difference. If you don't think that they can rise up and ensure that they are giving the right rigor, ensure that they are building those relationships, ensure that they're doing what they need to do for children, if you don't think they can, they won't. Right? And they know when you think that, and they know how you feel about them. So be authentic. The next thing is very important as it relates to branding yourself as leader is you got to know yourself. You got to know yourself. You have to know yourself, and you have to be honest about who you are and who you're not. Who you are and who you're not. And so to know yourself as a leader, you need to spend time with yourself. You need to spend time. Some people, especially, and if you're in leadership, I'm sorry. Like, I give no leaders no sympathy, okay? Because when you sign up for this role, you're signing up for a certain level of service that God allows you to do. So you got to get with it, okay? I don't really put my kid gloves on with leaders because you got to get this work. But you got to spend time with yourself. And as a leader, it's your responsibility. It's almost, I call it leadership malpractice. When you don't spend time with yourself, getting to know yourself, when you don't spend time with yourself, being able to reflect on yourself. If you don't know yourself, you won't be able to brand yourself. You need to be able to take constructive feedback from people so that yourself is always getting better. You got to spend time with you, right? And so I think that it's important. So, for example, I know that I bring a lot of energy. I'm positive. I'm a culture girl. I'm gonna, come and bring all the people in. Kumbaya. It's gonna be a good space to be in. I'm gonna be kind. However, like, I don't be calling people back, right, all the time. And my communication can actually get a lot better. And as a leader, one of the things that when you lead with love, you just care. The C is for communication. I know that I need to get better at that. So I put people around me that are better than that. And I allow people to give me feedback when they say, you didn't do this well, you didn't communicate this well. Then guess what? I apologize that I didn't do it. I don't get defensive. I don't be like, but no, I apologize. I'm going to do better. And I'm going to put systems and strategies around me to make sure that I'm clearly communicating to the people that I care about, right? And then the last thing I want to say is, as you are authentic, as you understand that you're always going to teach and be who you are, as you begin to know who you are and know yourself, that's very critical to those that want to be assistant principals and principals to understand, because when you begin to get into the role, when you apply to get into the role, you got to be able to get this a good fit for you. So I also teach in the master's program where I'm developing and growing and supporting aspiring principals, right, that are not in the principalship. In the doc program, many of them are already sitting in the leadership roles, but the aspiring principalships, the aspiring assistant principals is where I spend a lot of my time with. And I just did a session with them about fit. And so fit is important. Why? Not just one, you knowing yourself, you knowing your strengths, you knowing what you bring to the table, right? That's important because when you're coming into a community, you need to know what you bring to the space. What is it that the community, the school, what do they need? And what do you have, right? So when you're clear about who you are and what you bring, that's important for fit. But more importantly, listen to me. It's not just how you are fit for them, it's also how they are fit for you. And sometimes I've seen principals and assistant principals get into roles because they just want the job. They just want the position. They just want the role. They want the title. And they get it, but they didn't really think through deep enough to understand what value am I bringing to this group, this school, this community, these parents, etc. What value am I bringing to them? But more importantly, what value will they bring to me, right? What value will they bring to me? And when you value yourself, then that is a question that you're going to ask, because if you get into a role that is not a fit for who you are. I remember when I went to the University of Houston, Clear Lake. Listen, I had applied for a whole bunch of jobs. Listen, these higher ed streets, it's hard to get in, okay? But I manifested this thing because the Lord had a purpose for me. But I remember when I interviewed, I remember what was important to me. What was important, one, is that I didn't leave Houston because I got a family here. I got my children are here. Like, I couldn't leave. That was important. I couldn't leave. What was also important is that they needed to know that I wrote a book called The Art of Giving. And I needed them to be okay with that because it's who I am. It's my heart. It's how I believe and how I feel and how I advocate for children. And if they couldn't accept that, then they weren't a fit for me. I need to be able to be in a space where I can advocate with all the passion and the love that I have for children, because they deserve that. And if I wasn't able to do that there, that was not going to be the space for me. But you have to be able to be honest. You have to be able to truly understand where you stand as it relates to this word. You don't stand for nothing. You'll fall for anything. So be real clear about that. And then over time, your brand will take form. It will take form because everyone knows. You say Principal Kafeli, it don't matter where you at, it don't matter what city you in, it don't matter what state you in. What they gonna say? Oh, Principal Kafeli, oh, he gonna bring that fire. He gonna tell you what it's like. He gonna ask you the hard questions. He's gonna advocate for children. He's gonna not just bring the fire in the keynote, but he's gonna take time to build relationships with you to really get to the core of who you are and how you lead. And they ain't even got to know you. Because over time, when you are who you are, you won't have to say nothing.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know that was a lot.
That's all. The comments said to me, the comments were saying to me without saying, let her keep going. The people were loving what you were saying. So I said, all right, I hear you, comments. Hey, Dr.
My name and my brand.
Dr. JD.
I'm sitting here just trying to take my notes. Dr. Lewis, Dr. Q. This has just been amazing. But this is what Saturday's about. And even when I can't be on live, I'm going back and I'm rewinding. I'm trying to take my notes. So this is what we do. This is what we do.
You fam.
Exactly. I mean, in terms of brand identity and brand image, they have to be in alignment. When I walk in my building every morning, and I think Dr. Lewis said it best, I have a long commute as well, but I'm centering myself. It doesn't matter what happened the day before. It doesn't matter who said what about, this, that, and the other, because I know what my purpose is, and I'm going in focused and I'm going in on fire because this is a new day. Right? So when I walk through the door, it's good morning to everybody, from the custodian to the school safety agent, to every staff, every parent, every student that I see. And it's a matter of being intentional, having your focus, being purposeful about why you are there. We have to make that clear. And I'm going to walk the walk and talk the talk with my staff. Right? So when we're in our professional development, at the end of the day, I can be dog out tired. I done dealt with my babies all day long. But when I walk in the room, we have work to do. Let's go. I've had coaches say, how do you do it? How do you come with the energy? Because it's not about me. It's about the work that we have to get done. And it's also a matter of mentorship. mentoring those teachers that are in the building, mentoring the teachers that are moving into leadership, mentoring your administrative staff who is looking into maybe becoming a principal. Because you remember, it's not about you. And like my beautiful, soror Dr. Q just said, some of us are getting into the profession for the wrong reason. It's not a matter about this money, because I left corporate to come into this profession, okay? Because it's a matter of doing this work. We're saving lives here. We're changing lives. So if you think that you want to get into this position, into this role because you want the title, think again. That's not what this is about. This is about really being intentional and focused on the work. Our children are coming to us 2 and 3 and 4 years behind grade level. So if you're not going to show up for them, you can't fake the funk, as Dr. Q said. You have to have high expectations for our scholars, right? So when I have those high expectations that I expect my teachers to have, a lesson plan every day, I expect you to come in, okay, and show up for our children. I'm not asking you for much. I'm expecting for you to come in and to do what you're supposed to do for our children. That's being in alignment. That's my brand, okay? That's my brand identity aligned with my brand image, because I'm going to do the same thing. You want me to come in, right? And you want me to give you that feedback on that observation. So I'm expecting you to come in and give that feedback to that child's work that they're doing. Yeah. That's what we want. That's what we want for our children. And I also teach, right? I have my assistant principals. They teach. So we're going to walk the walk and we're going to talk the talk. Let's talk about it. So I never forget when I first met Principal Kafele, right? He pulled up that mirror. So I always have that mirror with me, even though it's not physically in my hand. You need to be able to look at yourself in the mirror, and you have to reflect. We don't always get it right. As Dr. Lewis said, we're human, right? But like I said, I praise in public and I admonish in private. Right? So we want you to do that for our children as well.
I like that.
So we have to come in with those high expectations. We have to treat our children the way we would want to be treated as well. It's not about those children. Don't say those children in front of me. Not my babies. And Dr. Q, your shirt is so on point. Okay, because this year, my whole philosophy was that I was leading with love. I'm coming in, I'm leading with love. I'm leading with love with my staff, my parents, my children. Okay, because we have to remember that we have to be our authentic selves. And I have been told by some staff members I'm too involved with my children on a day-to-day basis. And I said, well, I'm sorry. Because I'm always going to be involved, because when they come to me through that door, they're mine for however many hours I have. So whether I'm taking them out to a Broadway play or introducing them to something new, it's about cultivating their joy, okay? It's about cultivating joy. And I'm never going to be sorry for being intentional and being my true, authentic self. So I just want to say that alignment about our brand identity and brand image, it always has to be on one accord.
Love it. Love it. Let me stay with you, Dr. JD. I got another question, and then we'll transition to those talking points that you all sent me. There's a principal out there on the other side of the camera, and the principal is the leader of a low-performing school. Mm-hmm. And a school with a wealth of potential, I might add, though. Low-performing school, but there's a staff to stay consistent with our topic. There's a staff there that has no confidence that this is the right leader to turn this school around. Mm-hmm. My question to you, through the lens of Dr. Monique Jackson Dickens, what might be a first step for that leader to gain the confidence of that staff that I am the right person for the job and the intended outcomes of turning this school around are very real?
One of the first things, and you and I, we've talked about this, is going into that staff member's classroom, having a conversation about what's their why? Why are they here? Why are they here? And how can we work together in moving our school from where it is to where we want it to be, where we want it to go? And having a collaborative working experience together, bringing that person in the fold, okay? But understanding that this is an urgent matter, right? So sometimes there are just things that we have to get done. We can't wait. There's a sense of urgency. We got to put the fires out, and I need everybody on board. And then there's times where you're going to have to get people off the bus. And I have come into a school that was not doing so well. And I've seen the sense of urgency. I've come in, I've looked at the data, I've shared the data with my staff. And I've been very transparent with my staff to say, listen, this is what we have to do. And who's on board? Who's going to help me? I need all hands on deck. So if you're with me, I need you to be with me. But if you're not, it's okay to say, you don't have to stay. We got to have that real talk. But for that staff member who feels that I'm not up for the task, like I said, I'm 10 toes down. I'm going to walk the walk and I'm going to talk the talk. Either you're with me, you're with me. If you're not, there's other places that you can go. And I'm okay with that, respectfully.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Love it. Let me go to Dr. Lewis. Same question. Do I need to reiterate or you good?
You can reiterate one more time. People in the back.
You got for the people in the back. We got this school and it's low performing. And you got a staff that does not believe in the principal's ability to lead the effort in turning this school around. What advice would you give a principal out there or an aspiring principal out there that's watching right now in terms of a first step toward gaining the trust of the staff that I am the right person and the intended outcomes are real?
Oh, to be in the building right now, I've been in my building for 12 years. I've been a principal for 18 years.
Wow.
I have overall had pre-K to 8th grade, certified as elementary teacher, pushed myself, did high school 1 year, loved high school, but I didn't love sports. Don't know what that is. Don't ask me to do no football. But let me say this, to be in one building for 12 years was not a planned idea for me.
Okay.
I walked into a building, going back, I'm going to use my race on that. And because imposter syndrome comes. Only Black staff member. And 40 staff members are majority white. Imposter syndrome is saying, I gotta be perfect. I gotta be perfect. But I had to go in there and sell me as a competent person. Sometimes incompetent people, and there's a theory to this, overrate themselves. And competent people underrate themselves. And for me to go into a building that was failing, I'm telling you, this building was failing. It was failing so bad. It was in the newspaper for doing different little, because you're in a small town and everything is heard, for little behavior problems. So how I convince my staff is, one, I go back and say this, I'm vulnerable. And Dr. Q said it too. Being vulnerable, you have to be authentic with yourself. So you can, I got some people who can sell me the Brooklyn Bridge. Doesn't mean that it is the Brooklyn Bridge, right? But you have to like know yourself. Like going back, I always say this. I study this all the time. And that's emotional intelligence. You got to be self-aware. You could go in there and say, I'm this, I'm that, and don't even show who you are. Because it's like mismatch. It's not aligned, like you said. Your brand is not aligned for your image of what you're trying to sell. I can't go in there and say, I am this leader and I'm doing this. And guess what? I'm at my desk and I'm eating Burger King and everything else. No, I walk the walk. I talk the talk. No matter how bad I feel. I said I have an 8-year-old daughter in the 3rd grade. That's my first, my last, my everything. She don't want to get up. And I'm like, man, she done got my blood pressure already boiled. But when I get in that car, drive that 45-minute commute, I am, like you said, the leader of that building. Everything goes on the left side of things. I have to go in and I have to make sure who I am. I got to make sure, hey, I am Chantel, the leader. Like you said, Beyonce and the other stars, why? I'm human too. I get that you're human, but some people are just meant to be leaders. And you have to act as such, right, Dr. Keith? Sure. So what I do, I really, because I write down a lot of things, I really believe in that. That you got to be the right fit. Now, let me say this too. I also walked away from a building, and because I thought I could turn any building around, because everybody said, oh, you get that ego. I can turn any building around. I turned this poor school, this school that was around, and it was like a very impoverished neighborhood in Cleveland, Ohio, because Lorraine is like 40 minutes from Cleveland. And I turned that around by 8 points. And I'm like, oh, you couldn't tell me nothing. Okay. Guess what? I went to another one and I was like, I can't do this. And then when I got the scores back, my heart was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And it's okay, because I'm not going to win every race. It just was not the right fit. Okay. It was not the right fit. And then I seen this quote, and it's like I got a Rolodex of quotes in my mind. I trust that God's reflection is God's rejection is God's protection of you. Okay. And sometimes we hit rock bottom. Like you said, everybody's not meant for certain buildings. Yeah. And everybody, just because you get the opportunity, don't mean you got to walk through that door. You got to study yourself to see if you got to know it. Because money will make you, money will do some strange things, okay? And don't get me wrong. Dr. JD, you walked away from a 6-figure job. Many people can't do that. Many people are stuck. That's status quo. But I say this to say for myself, I knew I had to move on because that wasn't the right fit for me. Yeah. So as I go and be an administrator, I've done this for 12 years. This is something I've always wanted to do. As a little girl, I always wanted to be an educator. And I always wanted to be a principal. I said, when I turn 40, I'm going to be a principal. And guess what? I'm almost 50. But I can tell you the good, the bad, the ugly are some things I seen for myself that I didn't like that I did. For example, kids' behavior. I had, every time a kid come in, first thing in urban schools, give them 5 or 10. 5 or 10. They fighting 5 or 10. Okay. And I'm an elementary principal. You know what I came to realize? One day I walked in, there was 2 children fighting. And my assistant principal, oh, they're fighting. And I'm like, they siblings, right? One thing I know about elementary kids, they're going to fight regardless. And they're going to be friends the next day. This ain't high school where it's going to linger on. So why you just don't have that conversation and have that restorative practice and talk to those kids? Like, why y'all fighting? 9 times 10, 2nd grade. I'm fighting because he looked at me and called my mom. Does he know your mom? No. Would your mom care? Your mom doesn't care. Sometimes that conversation, they fight, they go back to class 9 times out of 10. They ain't gonna remember 2 hours that they fought. So why would I give them 5 days of instructional loss? Okay. Because of an elementary fight. That's what I've learned. Now, the old Chantel back 18 years ago would have given 5 or 10, 5 or 10, 5 or 10. You know what? I can kick myself in the, I won't say sugar, honey, iced tea.
Yeah.
Look, I can kick myself because I made those mistakes, but I'm willing to share that. As young administrators, you got people testing you. I mean, you feel like you swimming and people looking at you and they're always judging you. You getting yourself together. Like you said, sometimes you just gotta, like I said, emotional intelligence, self-awareness. Who are you? And that's hard. Michael Jackson, that man in the mirror, that's a hard reflection. No matter how much makeup you got on, and no matter how your hair is done, that man in the mirror is a hard reflection. And once you learn yourself and you self-aware of yourself, you're going to say, hey, let me lead. But you can't lead by yourself. Don't put your ego in front of yourself so much that you're too proud to ask people for help.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you for help. Hey, I need help. Some administrators that come in, I'm not going to ask them for help. They don't. I'm going to ask you for help. I can't do it by myself. And it's so funny because each year, and I've been doing this 18 years, same building, 12 years, and it gets harder. When you're in the building, I know everybody how they walk. Oh, that's such and such walking in. You know, I can hear their little keys. That's such and such keys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you always got to keep yourself, being an old administrator, yourself fresh. What are you going to do something fresh? And my assistant principal, shout out to Krista Smith. I better say it because I know you love Dr. Cavalli. Okay, come on, Krista. Say hello. Okay. She is always fresh. She did the pie in the face. I got to give her that yesterday. I said, girl, they ain't touching me with no cream on my face. Okay. But she did that. But you always got to keep yourself fresh. And one thing is I kept myself fresh by every year I put a school theme out there. And this year is challenging yourself. And every day, the kids, after they do the Pledge of Allegiance, they're like, challenge yourself to be kind today. Challenge yourself to listen to that. And you know what? They also go with the teachers.
Yeah.
So during Lent right now, I'm making all the teachers challenge themselves. I come with these little 101 challenges. For example, don't drink caffeine. They love it. And they feel like I'm like a priest or something. Oh, I'm sorry, I ate a donut. You don't have to say it to me. I just said challenge yourself. And that's one thing to be an older administrator come in, because you always got to keep yourself fresh.
Yeah.
Especially a school that's a high performing school. Okay. I have a high performing school. These kids, the third grade in the state of Ohio, if you don't pass the third grade guarantee, they used to retain you, but I have it where the kids are coming out, third graders, the score is 700. Some of the kids are getting 825s. So how do I keep growing these kids? Yeah. You know? But I remember when these kids had a 500 and need a 700.
Yeah.
I don't forget the bad, because it wasn't always good. But being good, and I'm just going to use the word good as a temperature here, that it takes time to be good. Consistency. Sometimes and a lot of us, and I'm going to say the word consistency, a lot of us are inconsistent. One day it's almost like the Wiz. Okay, one day we're going to wear red. Okay, here we go. We're going to wear green. Be consistent of who you are.
Yeah.
Okay, to form your job. One thing about my children at the school, and I say my children too, they know I'm consistent. You can get a break. Okay, not to say we have our little good days and bad days. I'm consistent. You know, you come walk through the door, you go upstairs, you get your breakfast. Some schools, you walk through the door today. No, we're going to do this tomorrow. I mean, be consistent of who you are too, and making sure you're the right fit.
I love it. I love it. Let me go to Dr. Miller. You need to restate. You good?
I got it.
Go ahead.
Listen,
These
yours. Dynamic women. And by the way, happy National Women's Month, ladies. Y'all are doing it big. I just love the energy here. And thank you, Principal Cavalli, for honoring us in this way to let us serve the people. So a few things. First is to my beautiful Sora. There's this book by called Move Your Bus by Ron Clark. And that book talks a lot about, if you're not reading, you're not leading, by the way. Okay. Listen, Dr. Q gonna always give you some books to read. All right. But if you're not reading, you're not leading. But it talks about moving your bus and looking at the type of the people on your campuses, right? You've got drivers, the people that are doing the work, that are leading the work. You've got runners, the people, they may not necessarily be leading it, but you give them the task, they ready, they believe in the vision, they're gonna go. You've got your walkers who just kind of there, right? They there and they trying to get by, and you know what I mean? They got something to say about the vision, but they do just enough to get their check. And then you got riders, right, who just there to keep put some weight on it, right? We got to drag them everywhere we go. It's an amazing book. But when you talked about making sure the right people are on your bus, I thought about that in this question, right? So a person doesn't think that you are fit to do the work, right? And like Dr. Lewis said, she said, you know, you got to be careful with that imposter syndrome. So first thing is the leader needs to believe that they can do it, right? The leader's got to know, and you've got to believe in yourself, because it's very easy to be like, am I the right person? Can I lead this work? Right? And when you feel that way and think that way, then people are, because you always teach who you are, right? That will permeate throughout the school and the organization. But you have to ask yourself, one, you got to believe, but two, you got to ask yourself, right? Why do they think this, and what evidence do they have? What evidence do they have, right? Do they have evidence that I am not, the person to do this work, right? Is this real, or is this a distraction? Because some people on your campus and some people in the space can be distractions. And I love what Dr. Lewis keeps bringing this up is you got to put your ego away. Because if somebody in there saying she can't do this and she can't do this, then that ego gonna come in. Oh, I can do this. I can do this. Who they think they are? I run this. I'm the mama jama. This is my school. Blah, 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 blah. And your ego and your emotions are the enemy to leadership. What evidence do they have whether you can do it or not? So now once you identify whether this is real or is this a distraction, then I think what's critical in addressing this space with this low performance school with people that don't believe that you can do it is you have to gain trust, right? If there is no trust, you have to gain trust. So how do you gain trust? We're going to bring in Brene Brown. One day y'all going to be like, the Dr. Miller. I'm trying to be the next Brene Brown. But one day, but Brene says, no vulnerability, no connection, right? To build trust, you have to have connection. You have to create and build relationships with people, with the humans that you serve in, right? They don't know you, they don't trust you, right? So you have to build that connection. And one of the ways that I believe you do that when you are leading with love, okay? The A, when you're leading with love, you just care, all right? And it's an acronym. But the A in care, right, it stands for to affirm, to acknowledge, and to account for, okay? To affirm, to acknowledge, and to account for. When you do this, when you first are very clear as you are manifesting and affirming what the kids can do, what the teachers can do, what the community can do, when you say those words, they are powerful, because as leaders, we create. Right? So what is it that they can do? You got to affirm them, right? The next thing is acknowledge the work that has been done. Acknowledge who they are. Acknowledge the everyday. Acknowledge the extended PLCs. Acknowledge that you here at 5 o'clock when you can't be gone at 3. Acknowledge the data when they grow. Acknowledge when something happens, right? Acknowledge the hard work. Because when you affirm and you acknowledge, now you build a solid foundation to be able to hold people accountable. Without the affirmation and the acknowledgement, the accountability can become abuse. I'm gonna say it again, without the affirmation and the acknowledgement of your people and what they're doing, the accountability can become abuse. But the accountability is what's going to take the organization to the next level, right? So you've got to create those relationships. You've got to build that foundation so that you can hold people accountable. So how do they know that the intended outcomes will be real? Well, one, we're gonna acknowledge, look at the data, right? We're going to have small wins. And when we have small wins, we're going to celebrate them, right? We're going to talk about what do we do so we can maintain it. But when people begin to see small wins, small increments of growth, then they can better believe that the intended outcome and goal is where we're going. But the biggest piece to this, right? It's not just the celebration of those wins, it's also the accountability for those that did not meet the target. See, what happens is we have teachers that's working their butts off, that's doing what they're supposed to do, and we celebrate them, but when somebody ain't, we don't say nothing. It needs to be acknowledged. Listen, we said we were going to do this. This didn't happen. And when this doesn't happen, we got to talk about how it impacts the vision, the mission, and the goals. But when you do that, the people that's working their butts off and doing right, they're going to appreciate the fact that not only are you going to celebrate what I'm doing, but you're also going to hold those that are not doing it accountable. And when you do that consistently, there's the word again, Dr. Lewis, consistently, then people will begin to know and believe, oh, they're not playing. She's serious. They serious. Right? And they're going to either get on the bus or they're going to get off the bus. Either way it goes. But you have to be a woman or a man of your word as a leader. You can't say one day we're going to do this, like she said, it. One day we weren't red, the next day we weren't green. No, if we have come together and collaborated and identify that red is the color. Red is what we need to do. This is why we need to do red. This is what the data has proven. When we were red, oh, we weren't red. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wear red every day. And when that is consistent and people it's predictable. They know that you're gonna do what you say. You say what you mean and you mean what you say. Then the trust will be there. Then the buy-in is gonna be there. Then you're gonna get people that's gonna stand 10 toes down for doing what we need to do for children. Now, I say this, but I done made mistakes too. I've made mistakes too. And that's why it's clear as a leader, you got to be clear. You got to know, because our children, our teachers, and our communities, they need and they are worth more than us practicing and piloting and letting them be test dummies on our leadership.
Test dummies. Wow. Let me, you said so much, the three of you did. But with everything you just said, Dr. Q, the one that really stood out for me in terms of just what I do in my own messaging is what you said about the small wins. See, if we're in a losing situation, such as a team, a sport, right, an organization, a school, a district, wherever things just haven't been going well for a long time, then there's probably, as you so eloquently said, a losing culture. This is what we're accustomed to doing. We lose here, right? We winning's not on the radar, right? High levels of achievement as a school is not on the radar because this is not what we do. The principalship is a revolving door. Everybody that comes in here with these big lofty goals, and it doesn't happen because there's a culture here that supersedes whatever that messaging is. So with what you said, I'm kind of just reiterating what you said. When I can set you up with small wins, like if we here, let me just let you see what this tastes like, right? What this tastes like. And now these little small wins become habitual, right? They become habit forming. And okay, because these folks been in the building for 10 years and ain't never won before. So now you can't come in here. We've been losing all the time. Now you talking about some Super Bowl? No, let me win maybe 2 more games than I won last year, right? So, so small wins. So principal come in, we going for 100%, but we at 15 right now in math. No, let's go for 20, right? Or if it's iReady test or any other internal assessments that we take, let's get them incrementals. And now we building a culture, right, that we could sustain. And now that staff, because you said, I'm just feeding off your fire. You said it all. Now that staff, I could believe in you as leader because you have shown me that winning is possible. Man, That's it. That's a fam out there on the other side of the camera. That's us, the four of us. It's the three of them. I could not sit back on that one because that's my wheelhouse. So the fam on the other side, if you in that situation right now and y'all are low, you low performing, right? Don't go in there Monday morning. We going for the Super Bowl now, NBA Finals, World Series, Stanley Cup, whatever, Wimbledon, U.S. Open, whatever your sport. No, let's get on first base.
And can I say something, Principal Kufele?
Jump on in here.
To that, just real quick to that. Um, Creating a culture of growth is a thing because it's not just we have to realize that the things that we teach in schools is not just a school lesson, it's a life lesson. And most life lessons are leadership lessons. Leadership and life lessons, they all the same thing. And so understanding that in life, we just need to get better. We just need to increase. We just need to grow. Like when we do that in our own personal spaces, things will get better. However, I want to make it very clear that, now listen, testing and it's important. I know it's important, and this is not one of the questions or the subject. However, we have to understand that our children and our teachers, we are more than just that. We need to be successful. We need to win. We need to prepare children to be able to compete academically at very high levels. And testing kind of has a space in that, right? However, I do want to say that it's important as we're identifying and creating this culture of growth and identifying these incremental wins. It's also critical that the district level support is able to meet us there. Identify, all right, listen, here is what your threshold is. This is what you need to win at, right? Help us get there instead of creating these very, very, not that they are not realistic, but these very, very high pressure standards that make leaders begin to lead in fear versus love, make leaders begin to lead in a way that now their heart is out of it because they don't want to lose their jobs. And that's a real thing. It's a real thing. So, I just want to shout out to my district people. If anybody is on here, don't forget what it's like to be, on the campus and identify what is it that your principals and your assistant principals need as because failure isn't an option. However, like what can that look like so that that growth and movement is happening, and that success is the main goal. So yeah,
Love it. Now, see, you got me started on something. Listen to the fam out there. This is one of those sessions we're definitely going to go over 2 hours, right? This is because we just about there. So y'all, fam, the conference finals are tomorrow. So y'all good in terms of college basketball. It's good. We good, right? So let's stay with us, y'all. I mean, we got a lot on here. We had a few thousand that been coming through, so we good. Listen, y'all. In terms of what you just said, Doc, I cannot just move on to the next topic without saying this. A lot of times we hear things and we're in those principals meetings, those administrator meetings, and we want to challenge it. We want to express our dissent, whatever it is, coming from the superintendent, coming from the assistant superintendent. Well, again, you got to look at the culture of your district, and if you can pull off a win by disagreeing publicly with all your colleagues in the room, fine. Me, I figured out as a very young principal, let me not disagree when it's something I need from you, as in terms of superintendent, assistant superintendent, whomever it is. Let me not disagree with you publicly, right? Because me disagreeing with you publicly may put your back up against the wall, right? So instead, let me let the meeting go on. Let me let it adjourn, and then let me stay at my seat until everybody's gone. And now let me have a one-on-one conversation with my kids' gloves on and talk to the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, whomever it is, about my concern in a way that is not offensive, that is not threatening, in a way that I could win. See, one of the books that I'm so glad I read when I was in undergrad school is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. We gotta know how to talk to different people. No two people are alike. So how do we how do we adjust our speech, modify our speech is the word I was looking for, so that now I can have this conversation and win. And that's key. I got to bring you around to me, not me conform to you, right? When I know what my needs are in the building better than you know what my needs are in the building. So how do I approach you in a way that you say, oh, okay, Kafele, I got you. See, but you ain't gonna say I got you, and I got 20 colleagues sitting in the room, and they all thinking like me, right? You got to save face because I put your back against the wall, so I can't win that one. But when it's just you
Strategic
and me,
advocation.
yeah,
Strategic advocation
there
for
you
your
go. Say that one
children.
more time.
Strategic advocation for your
See,
babies.
you
You
got
gotta
you the professor, so you got that terminology with the concept, right? Good stuff. Hey, I see my man on here. I can't not recognize Salome. Dr. Salome Thomas L is in the building. He said, he said, yes, can't forget when we start, where we started, why that instructional leadership and leaders learning is important to the culture. His new book, put that name of that book in that comment, Salome, is coming out in April. Man, I should know the title, but I don't want to mess it up. Put that title in the comments, Salome Thomas L, Dr. Salome Thomas L. I wrote the forward to the book, so you know I'm plugging it. So put that in the comments. I could post it, Salome, so we could whet some appetites here for your new book that comes out in April under ASCD.
You're not reading, you're not leading.
That's the title.
No, it's not.
Oh no! Oh, here you go. He put it. I was going to say meet their needs, but there's a first part. Where's the first part? Salome? And okay, and they'll succeed. So here we go. Meet their needs and they'll succeed, but written by my brother, Dr. Salome Thomas L. Let me put it again here. Meet their needs and they'll succeed by Dr. Salome Thomas L, ASCD, and yours truly wrote the forward. So make sure that you can pre-order right now. ASCD.org. Amazon.com. You can pre-order right now. This is the man that coined the phrase, I choose to stay. He's been a principal for over 20 years from the Philadelphia area. He's in Delaware now. He's big time. Meet their needs. I ain't never done this for an author in the 255 sessions that I've been doing this, that I saw an author in the comments and I deviated this because this is my brother here. So again, meet their needs and they'll succeed by Dr. Salome Thomas L. Hey Doc, you can send me a check later, right? So let's go. I want to go to those talking points. Dr. Miller, I'm gonna start with you. Only because the sequence that I numbered it, I was going to start with Dr. Lewis, but let me go with the numbers I got. You said leadership is the solution to everything, and then I wasn't sure where the quote goes before or after in terms of whose quote that is, but you said Marianne Williamson, and then time for us to step up and understand we all lead from where we are. Here's what I want to do. This is for the three of you. We'll cover two of your three talking points. It's 12:45 Eastern time, which means we're 15 minutes away from 2 hours. I have nothing to do, but just keep that in mind because I want to keep the fam on here as long as we can. In real time, fam, we have about on Facebook alone, we got about 900 people that are on here on Facebook in real time, and then in terms of the folks who've been in and out, it's a few thousand people. Twitter, I don't have in front of me and all that. YouTube, but it's a lot of people tuning in. So just keep that in mind. So Dr. Miller, what are you telling us with that? Unmute yourself.
Again, if you're not reading, you're not leading. And leaders, here's the deal: like, it is our responsibility to always be getting better and to always be growing, right? And so you do that through reading, through professional development, through coming to academies like this. You got to show up for yourself, so that you're always sharpening your tool. But Marianne Williamson wrote what people will probably be more familiar with is the poem Our Deepest Fear. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be beautiful, to be talented? Who are you not? You are a child of God. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but that's who wrote that, right? So she wrote a book called A Return to Love. And in the book, she talks about love that, and it's referenced from a book called A Course in Miracles. But she says that leadership and love, right? Leadership and love simultaneously is the solution to everything, right? And so what we have to understand is nothing gets better without true leadership. And we are living in a society, in a world right now, y'all, that we need strong, courageous leaders that truly give us or care about the humans that we're serving. And unfortunately, that's not always true. Again, you have people that step into leadership that are there for power and position rather than purpose, right? Don't get into a leadership role for power position, because again, this is a ministry of service, right? And so, but when you've got good leadership, there's no issue or problem that can't be solved, especially leaders that are leading with love. And a lot of times it's like, I got to get this title. Well, because I'm not this title, people won't listen to me, or I don't have this influence. And that is absolutely not true. Wherever you are, in whatever seat you're in, we are all leaders. And that's the first thing that we have to understand, is that we all lead, because leadership is merely service to humans. And because everything that we do, we are dealing with humans, right? We are in leadership roles. So whether you are a superintendent, whether you are a secondary principal, whether you are a second grade teacher, or whether you are a stay-at-home mom, right? The teacher of your children, you are leading. And so when you're in that space, I implore, I beseech, I think that's the word they use. I'm bootleg Bible version, right? That means I strongly urge you to truly understand that we've got to lead with love. And a lot of people hear this lead with love thing and think that I'm all mushy. Now I am mushy and gushy, okay? I like the mushy gushy love. But love is a verb. Love is not what you say or what you feel, it's what you do. And so the acronym that I leave with, just care. How do you lead with love? You just care. They are actions that truly will enact and show what love is. When the Bible talks about love, it says love is kind. It's like this list of things that love does, right? And so and that's really the point. It's just that, one, everyone is a leader. So wherever seat you're in, whether if you are a teacher, like, lead from that space. Show compassion and care to the people that you are serving, your students, your colleagues. Lead from that space. Make sure that you are holding yourself accountable and others, right? And I could go on with the eight different strategies. However, wherever you are sitting, you are leading, right? So look at yourself, reflect, and make the decision to do that with love, care, kindness, and consideration to people. And you can't lose. You can't lose. You can't lose.
And I'm gonna give you just care in the second round. All right, with the
Perfect.
yeah, I got you. Dr. JD, you said every teacher should be a leader in the building and should always strive for academic excellence. But school leaders, both principals and APs, need to mentor and coach teachers. That's my wheelhouse. Jump on in here.
Absolutely. Just like my sister, Dr. Q, just said, we're all leaders. So whether you're in the classroom, when I was a school teacher, I closed my classroom door and I became that CEO of my math classroom. I had high expectations for my students. I led with love for every expectation. When I became an assistant principal, I led with love. So there's the leadership in everything that we do. It does not matter what your role is in the school. And I believe it was you, Principal Kafele. You said when you show up to the building, you can see the leadership before you even see the people.
That's right.
When you walk inside the building, you see the leadership. And it's a matter of who's doing what in your buildings. So, when we look at those aspiring assistant principals and aspiring principals, it's a matter of how we show up. How are we mentoring? And I'm so blessed and honored that I've had teachers and colleagues that I've used to work with that I'm now mentoring them. Whether or not we're not working in the same building, but I'm still calling, them, they're calling me. And it's a matter of how we strive for excellence in everything that we do. So we need to remember that we are all leaders, right? Every teacher needs to make sure that they are leading and that they're not waiting for their assistant principal or their principal to tell them what they need to do, because as a pedagogue, they know that their first job is that they're going to teach their children what they need to teach them. So I don't have to tell you what you need to do. You should already want to do that when you first walk into the classroom. Now, I may be teaching you some different academic strategies, but the goal at the end of the day is I'm going to get my scholars from point A to point B from September to June. It's just going to be a matter about how we're going to navigate to get them there. That's the leadership. That's the leadership that we're talking about.
I love it. I love it. Dr. JD, I think about, you go to certain schools. Certainly I can speak for myself, but I'm just going to speak generically. You go to certain schools and clearly there are people who are non-certificated, who are clearly leaders in the building, whether it be custodians, whether it be security, whether it be front desk people, whether it be secretaries, because they have a leader that understands that when I empower all this other human capital within the building,
that's right,
it's only going to contribute to a culture that's conducive to high academic performance over the long haul.
And you know what you told me? You said to me, and I always have that quote, is my school better because I lead it? Now I even took that a step further for my teachers. Is my school better because I teach at it? And we should all take that, whatever we do. Is my school better because I secure it? Is my school better because I'm a custodian in it? It does not matter what your role is. Is the school better because you work at it and the role that you play in that school building?
I love it. And you know what I did with the teachers, because with the principal, let me shamelessly plug, since you mentioned it. That's the name of the book. Is my school a better school because I lead it? Right? That's shameless, y'all. But Amazon, ASCD.org. Right. But anyway, but with the teachers, I said, let me tweak that question, right? And I said, in this book, a shameless plug, the Teacher 50, I said, Amazon or ASCD.org. I said, as it relates to the teacher, are my students at an advantage because I am their teacher?
That's right.
So in other words, in addition to having the advantage of various material resources in the building, what about me? Are the students at an advantage because I am their teacher? Am I the advantage, right? So, think about that, folks, when on the other side of my camera, the fam out there, when you're engaging with your staff, ask them the question, do they believe that the students are at an advantage because they're the teacher versus somebody else? It's 3.5 million teachers in America. Is this the best possible situation for your student? Have that conversation with your staff at a staff meeting, at a PLC, whatever it is, and see what kind of answers you come up with. right? You may find it to be interesting. Good stuff, good stuff. Let me move on. Where we at? We got Dr. Lewis here. She said a school's culture starts at the top. I agree with that. What you telling us, Doc?
Well, I'm telling you, just like it's Casey Washington just put something in the chat that says, would you want your own children in your own classroom or school?
There you go. Let me find
And you know what? That is so true, because that was always my measurement on things. My staff, I have staff members who bring their children to my school. Now, you ask me why I ain't bring mine. I'm not going to talk to mine 45 minutes. I need my break because I take a commute, okay? So that is the bar and the measurement. And you're right. I think, JD, you said it best when you could just feel it when you walk in what type of school it is. If people walking around with a culture, nobody's speaking to the parents coming in, everybody head down.
Yeah.
Got some cereal on the front, you eating, or you answer the phone, hello, like you don't want to be there. That's your school culture.
Yeah.
You're right. Who are you as a leader? Who are you? You're going to tolerate that? You know what I mean by tolerate that is that does the human capital, going back to your human capital, you could be an advantage or a disadvantage. And as a leader, are you creating followers or are you creating leaders? But that ego got to be out of the way in order for you to do that, right? I said that before, huh? And I truly believe in the art of that. You got to preach what you have to preach what you teach. You have to lead with consistency. Now, Dr. Q, you have that ethics of love, and I love it. And you got to feel that ethics of love in how you present everything. Now, you like right now, I'm so congested, but I'm up because y'all got fire going.
Yeah, you've come a long way since we first got on. I noticed.
Oh yeah, I didn't get up. I'm like dropping the mic.
You sing well now.
Got a horse in my mouth, but that's your friend Solomon. It was a Solomon that you stated.
Alone.
Yeah, he stated that we're bringing education church on the Sunday. On the Saturday. You're right. We are.
Yeah.
Because this is real life. You have to walk and talk the talk. I'm not going to sit before you and say, hey, I've never made mistakes. Let me show you what to do. I make mistakes every day.
Yeah.
But some mistakes, it's almost like Einstein. You're going to repeat the same thing over, and it's a sense of what? Insanity. I'm not going to repeat the same mistakes. And what I mean, repeating the same mistakes, you want to make sure your school, no matter what, if I'm there or not there, that school culture better be going. It better be like a smile. Because my brand is that we have a school culture. Don't be afraid to have organized chaos. Some people, oh, no. We can't have a Valentine's Day party. Oh, no. The teachers are not going to like it. Oh, no. I'm an elementary principal. And we celebrate everything. We celebrate things so much. I was like, how did we end up selling Pie Day? I know it's National Pie Day 3.14. These kids don't know about that yet. I mean, we celebrate everything. Nothing's off the limit. And when you have children that's coming from an impoverished neighborhood or urban districts like I do, you should celebrate everything. Because the one thing that they have is school. And I say this all the time to my staff, and I say it to really adults. We've been adults longer than we ever been children. So we forget about how being a child is.
Yeah.
We used to have Valentine's Day, right? We used to have field trips or have them going for recess. I don't want it to be where the culture is so rigid. We have to learn all the time, bell to bell. Sometimes it's going to be bell to bell, and sometimes it's not going to be bell to bell. Know your reflection as a leader. And I'm going to tell you, it's not always bell to bell in my school. Because I'm able to relinquish that control of being rigid and having that organized chaos. Sometimes it's organized. But I'm willing to do that. These are children. They're not prisoners. We don't go in there for it's like a penitentiary. We're not doing that. Like I said, I was given 5 or 10 with little elementary kids, 2nd grade, fighting. Like I learned a long time ago, elementary children are going to fight. And the teachers, they were fighting. Okay. 9 times out of 10, I'll call a parent, we'll have a discussion, but we can move on past that. So the culture starts with the top. If I was the principal that's not approachable, think about that. You can't talk to me, not going to make an appointment. Some parents come in when they want to come in. I make sure that I am available and I'm vulnerable for them to come in and have discussions. Yeah. I don't want them to ever think if you see me in the store, I have these perfect little Stepford children. I don't. Children are not perfect, and they embarrass you at some given time or place. It depends on, okay? So it does start with the top. And you have to make sure when you start at the top, you have to, going back to all what we said earlier, vulnerability, being authentic, reflection, like you said, that man in the mirror, or when my grandmother says, good old studying yourself, and knowing what you are as a leader. And yeah, I make a mistake. I'm not going to say I'm not. I have a big mouth. I'm from the South. That's all I know. I'm screaming, I'm shouting, I'm doing all that. I drop the mic and everything else. But that's a part of who I am. I'm not going to replace who I am. Now, sometimes I can replace and be a little fine, refined and have a decor. But I am who I am. And that's when the teachers and not the parents, they love to see human.
Yeah.
You're human. And you're going to make mistakes. And don't be afraid to make a mistake. And it's those who are so afraid to make a mistake and you're trying to please that superintendent. I'm not going to always please the superintendent. I hope he's not on here.
He might.
He might be. Okay. I mean, don't be afraid to make those mistakes and listen to learn and learn to listen. Listen to learn and learn to listen. You don't have the answers to everything.
Right.
The person that have the answer to everything, well, while you're in that room, you need to be in another room because all y'all doing is saying the same old thing.
Right.
So that concludes what I have to say. But can't take that EC. You're right. You can't take that East Cleveland out of me, honey, Miss Shaw. You can't.
Oh, here you go. Yeah, you can't take that EC out of education.
You can't take it out of me, honey.
I love it. Let's go one more round, y'all. Here we go.
I want to do like Arsenio Hall we used to do. Who.
We're telling our age now.
Yeah.
We're telling our age, honey.
I know, right? We still look good.
Now keep in mind, Dr. Miller, I know you did a TED Talk on this. We ain't got time for this.
We ain't got TED Talk time.
Yeah, give us the little something, right? Exceptional leaders lead with love using the acronym JUSTCARE. So the person that was asking to restate that, I hope you're still here. And here you got it. And now Dr. Miller going to let you know what that's all about. Go ahead.
So listen, okay, first of all, I feel like Dr. Lewis just did the whole thing, right? I really don't need to expound because she didn't already say it because she leads with love. And see, the thing is, when you lead with love, a lot of these concepts that I'm going to say, you just do naturally because it's what love is, right? So real quick, please go check out the TED Talk. The book is coming. I'm thinking May. I'm praying for May. It will be coming out. Principal Kafeli, you always inspire me when you come out with your books. I'd be like, God dang it, he is doing the doggone thing. So Lead with Love, 8 heart-centered strategies for exceptional leadership is coming out very, very soon. So, but please go watch the TED Talk. So real quick.
And we'll have you come on to do a cameo. Perfect. The new book comes out. So that's
it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. I wrote another one in the interim under a pen name about dating relationships. But you know what I mean? Okay. I ain't gonna cameo that one, okay? But to lead with love, right? What are these actions? You just need to care, right? So that's really the core of it. Just care, right? The same with my book. So what does just care stand for? The J in just means joy. Leaders need to find their own peace, their own passion, their own purpose, and be happy with themselves. Because when you come into an organization and you're not happy with you, or you're not happy with your life, then that misery then goes to everybody else in the organization. I know y'all been somewhere before and the people don't like their job, and you're like, oh, what is wrong with you? That is what happens when you are leading. You need to have your peace and your joy, and you are important. You are the most important piece to this puzzle. So, your passion, your purpose, your peace. Have some joy in your life so that you can give joy to others. The U stands for undo your tie. Dr. Lewis just went off of this. You be human. You are human, and it's okay to be human. Humans make mistakes. Human gets hungry. We get hangry. Humans, we grieve. We deal with things that we show up to the space with. Acknowledge in your humanity, because people will connect with that. They don't connect with the fact that you got this title, or you this doctor, or you whatever. They connect with the fact that you bleed like they bleed. You have hard days like they have hard days. You struggle and you're unsure some days too. You got children that you worried about, because while you taking care of everybody else's children, who's taking care of yours? That's a real thing, right? So be human, undo your tie. We get you the leader, we get you in charge, but no, undo your tie and know that it's okay to be human. When you lead with love, you do that. You're vulnerable. S, surrender success. And Principal Traylor, you just said this. We've got to empower the humans in the building to do the work. It's not my school, it's our school. It's not my vision, it's our vision. And leaders, we stress ourselves out because we are the leaders. That's true. The buck does stop here. And when things go bad, baby, they coming to us. When things go good, they sometimes forget. However, the buck stops with us, and we understand that's a lot of pressure. But leaders, aspiring leaders, I want to encourage you. You got to release that pressure and empower your people, because when it's their vision and it's their work and they've got the buy-in, you can't do this by yourself. Together we are powerful. You cannot do this work alone, period. And when you try to, that's your ego getting in the way, right, Dr. Lewis? It's your ego getting in the way, thinking that you big, bad, and bold, and you got this. No, we got this. And if you don't understand that concept, leadership ain't for you. The next thing, the T, is for take time to listen. Humans need to be heard, and humans actually have something to share. And when you don't take time to listen, then you don't take time to connect. When you don't take time to listen, then you can't hear and understand the hearts of the people that you serve. When you all doing all the talking all the time, because you can learn some stuff too. Take time to listen. We need to be heard. The C, we ain't care. The C stands for communicate. I was thinking consistency, but I'm going to go with communication, because communication, I believe, can cure cancer. The toxic cancer. Now, listen, go get tested, people, because that is a real thing. But the cancer of assumption, the cancers of, he say, she say, right? There's so much cancer that goes on through the lack of communication in schools and organizations across the country. So communicate. People are afraid when they don't know the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. And sometimes there's no reason for them not to know it. It's just us taking the intent, being intentional about sharing what's happening, right? Because when people are afraid, there's a decline in creativity, there's a decline in security, there's a decline in performance. People can't work when they're afraid, and communication can cure that. And people need to be informed. So listen, ask questions, give feedback, have critical conversations, check your emails and respond. Like, there's so many things that when something is happening in an organization, let people know in the different ways that they receive communication. Just because you like an email don't necessarily mean that everybody's just going to look at email. Do an email, do a flyer, do a call out, put it on the text message, put it on the group meet. Let the people know and make sure people are informed. The A, I've already addressed it, talking about affirming our people and speaking life into our students, speaking life into our teachers, speaking life into our communities, acknowledging the hard work that people are doing. And then more importantly, love is accountability. When you don't hold people accountable for the work that they do, you don't love them. There ain't no way you love them, because when you love someone, you expect and you want them to do and be the best that they can. And if you don't say nothing, if you let ridiculousness happen, if you let laziness fly by, if you let half doing and half, I can't say that word on this good podcast, if you let it go, you don't care, right? The R in, I'm sorry, I get hot on that one, okay? The R in care stands for reflection. Hold your mirror up, Principal Kafali. Hold your mirror up. It's about having mirror reflective moments as a leader. When you lead with love, you look at yourself. And what you do is, this is what you do. You first review the data. If you're not asking people how you're doing and what you can do better, is you don't need to be in the seat. You need to ask. Teachers that don't ask kids how they can be a better teacher, I'd be like, oh no. See, at my school, that was a requirement. You got to do a student survey because you need to hear the voices of those that you serve. Same with teachers. Principals need to know, how are you doing? So review the data. After you review the data, then you're going to reflect on it. You're going to be like, all right, let me look at Q. Let me look at Q. What am I doing well? What do I need to do different? How can I learn? And then you are going to do what needs to be done. If you need to go to a PD, if you need to call in a friend, whatever you need to do to get better for those you serve, it's your responsibility to do so. And then you redo it again. And then you go at it again. And then it's a cycle. Then you're going to get some more data. You're going to review the data. You're going to reflect, and you're going to redo it. And then you're going to do it all over again, right? It's a cycle of reflection. And then the last E is excellent examples. Okay, excellent examples. If you read Atomic Habits, if you're not reading, you're not leading. He says that basically, who we get our habits from: the close, the powerful, and the many. And so we are that to people. In the TED Talk, I say, si quieres que la gente lo haga mejor, debemos mostrarles lo que se vea mejor. And when you translate that, it means if we want people to do better, then we've got to show them what better looks like. So in my book, The Art of Giving a Shh, I was a Spanish teacher. And so for many years, and I was from Oak Cliff, that's my hood, from the South Texas, Dallas, Texas, from a single family home. But I could speak another language, and I got a PhD, and I decided to choose empowerment over victimhood. I needed to model that for them, that you can do this. You absolutely can do this. We didn't have no money. Like, I'm starting from zero, right? Now trying to be a hero to all those, so that they know that they can do it. We have to be examples. So if you're a leader and you lazy, don't get mad at teachers that's lazy. If you're a teacher and you come tardy to class, don't be trying to mark children tardy to class. Are you joking me? If you don't want to hear me sit and talk in a meeting, don't make children sit and listen to you talk. Model and be the example that you want to see happening. Just care, everybody. Just care.
Yeah.
Go check out the TED Talk. Please like it. Share what my daughter said I need to say. Please like, comment, and share.
Yeah, she told you right too.
Like, comment, and share.
Yeah, no, she told you right, and I'm gonna reinforce it, y'all, because I saw the video. Go to YouTube, and you'll see an expanded version of Just Care, and as was just said, like, comment, share. One of the words I failed to say today is like, right? Make sure you like. No, I said it in the beginning. Make sure you like, even if you dislike it, like it anyway, right? We're in an algorithm-driven world, so just like it, right? And then leave a comment. And y'all been commenting all day, so that's a good thing. Let me keep moving. We got two more. For Dr. JD, I'm gonna go out of sequence because I'm intrigued by the last one you gave me, which would be this one. Black women school principals and APs often lead in high poverty settings, serving diverse student populations with limited resources. So what did you want us to know with that one?
So and thank you for letting us have this moment and platform during Women's History Month. So thank you so much. And with two other phenomenal. I mean, just to go after you, Dr. Q, I'm still speechless, and I wrote down everything on Just Care. So I will be liking, sharing, and so oftentimes, it's always we're the ones with given the burden, but I call it the calling, right? It's the calling of having to be given the task of leading in high poverty settings, right? With diverse student populations and limited resources, but it's sometimes, we don't support each other. We don't support each other as Black women. And I believe it was Dr. Q. You said some things that we are under the U. We are human, and we forget. We forget, especially those principals who are leading others and who are looking for leadership, and we're not kind to one another. We talk down to one another, and I understand we have all those stresses because I'm one of them. I was in a situation that was not very nice to me, and I'm mentoring others who are finding themselves in that same situation. And why is it that Black women, we don't support each other? We have to support each other. We need to help one another, and the fact that we are often in times leading in high poverty settings, with limited resources. Why aren't we coming together? Why are we not coming together? So one of my topic of my dissertation is that it takes a village, right? And it was teacher perceptions of academic resiliency, and how does that lead to culture and climate from a teacher perspective, right? So what are we doing as educators in our school communities, and how are we helping each other? But it just oftentimes, sometimes we see women, and oftentimes we're not supporting each other. And then even if you look at some of the teachers, because I'm a Black woman, right? I'm not respected in my own building, leading my own people. And so it's just something that, it just speaks volumes to me. But when I'm here, and a lot of times when I'm coming on Saturdays, that's where I need to go. So I think it was Dr. Lewis and Dr. Q. If you're not investing in yourself, that's a problem, right? So I myself use my summertime to invest, to pour into myself. And I think that we as women, we need to do that more often. So I take myself to be around my Black educators that rock, right? I take my time to make sure that I'm reading and pouring into myself, because we have to do that as Black women. We need to go find like-minded people, so that we can, and it doesn't matter. I'll walk into rooms by myself to meet my other sisters who are doing what they need to do in their school communities. But we need to do more of that, because oftentimes we sometimes are, leadership is lonely at the top sometimes. And we need to go find those spaces, those people who are going to help us fill our cups, so that we don't become the bitter people that are now going to pull down others who are just trying to find their way. And so that's just, what I wanted to say, because we are oftentimes leading in high poverty settings, and I know the stress is real, but don't go and pull down other, upcoming, young Black women that are trying to find their way. You have to invest in yourself and go find other women who you can help, move forward, and bring somebody else along with you.
I love it. Bring somebody else along with you. That's I keep saying that I want to create a session around that topic, and I just haven't done it. There's no reason I haven't done it. Just it's so many topics in my head, and I need to do that one where that's we spend the 2 hours just on that alone, right? So it's coming, right? And you probably be one of the people I call to be a part of that as well. Let me go to Dr. Lewis on this last one, and then we go to our rapid fire questions. Where we at here, number 6. Dr. Lewis, you said effective leadership means setting clear expectations, modeling integrity, and fostering a sense of collective purpose. Those are powerful words. What are you saying to us?
Well, I'm saying is, woo, I don't know. I'm jumping on everybody's topic. I'm like, I feel like I'm impulsivity right now. Dr. JD, I'm sorry. You get back to me in 1 second. But, you know, I it's like, stop being a teaspoon when we have a shovel. You know, oh, girl, we could speak, and he better bring everybody, because we the Supremes on here today. We didn't got him some ratings. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all,
We the Supremes, baby.
y'all did.
We did it now. Okay.
The numbers are particularly high.
Okay, we know how to commercialize. We know our brand, don't we? We know how to brand ourselves. Okay. Okay. Let me say this. I believe clear expectation, because I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna cut it short, because clear is kind. Right? You know your self-worth. Dr. JD just said, you know, you got to lead and fill your cup. I cannot lead when my cup is empty. I can't give nobody anything when my cup is empty. I remember going and working, and this is not to be a poster child because other people do it. Full-time, single mother, doctoral student. Okay? I mean, when I tell you my brain was fried, it was fried. But you know what? I knew myself. I couldn't give anybody anything right now, anything extra. No, you got to, and that's an expectation you got to set with yourself too. Know what you can give. You know, modeling integrity. I go back to leading with love. You know, say what you mean what you say. I have a moral compass. I know some people, and I'm not gonna get my political ambitions that other people got, you know, because people do anything for votes now. So I'm gonna move on. I ain't gonna stop. I ain't going there because I don't want his show to be, you know, banned. But I got my integrity. My moral compass ain't gonna let me do anything insane and just to do because you said do it. We got to have that integrity. We got to model that integrity. If you believe that you don't tolerate disrespect and you go disrespect other people, guess what? You contradicting yourself. Okay? So you that's what I mean by modeling integrity. And I believe it's a collective purpose for everything. There's a purpose for everything. Every opportunity, you know, things are not done on like you know how you think you tell, yeah, I got this plan, but you tell God your plan, he laughing like that ain't your plan. I got something else, you know. And I think that we should know that we are practitioners in the field of educating children. Some of these children would never see what we have done, and you're not going to give back as a leader everything you give to people. You're not. One teacher asked me, I said, well, you know, I have to go, you know, I got to do this. Well, why are you doing that? I said, because God, that's just frank. You never know if you got children, they could come right back to you. You know, I believe in karma too. So you have to love yourself first. You gotta fill that cup. Got to have that self-care. I can't lead you as a staff and I'm burned out because all we're doing is going around chasing our tails. And you can see schools are like that. So when you lead with that purpose of that. And that's the collective purpose. But I'm ready for them 21 fire questions.
There we go. I love it. Before we get to them, let me just say, you know, to make the transition, this was powerful stuff. And I know from, I'm like the host, I'm the engineer, I'm the producer, you know, I'm doing too many things at one time. But I do see all the comments. I see all of them, 100% of them. And just a lot of good stuff coming through. And remember, I'm not just looking at one, I'm looking at 4 platforms. I'm looking at YouTube, I'm looking at Facebook, Twitter or X, and LinkedIn, you know, so just a lot of people rocking with y'all, you know, all morning. So let's go to these rapid fire. We go 777. The last one I give to all 3 of you. And so the first 7, I'm gonna go with the same sequence I've been using. We go with Dr. Miller. Just a reminder, these are 1 sentence or even 1 word. If you find yourself inserting a comma, it's too much, right? It's too. These are rapid fire, bam. right? So here we go. Is education on the right path for underserved children?
No,
Can true equity occur in America's schools for Black and Brown and other underserved students?
it can if we make the decision to do so.
Does Dr. Quinice Miller's work contribute to the progress we desperately need?
Absolutely. Love and humanity.
If you could do a reset on your life, would your line of work be different or the same?
The absolute same.
Why do you continue to do this work?
It's my life's work, my mission.
What particularly fires you up within the work that you do?
The people,
What do you dislike about the work you do?
the politics.
Dr. JD, what has been your greatest victory in your work thus far?
Seeing my scholars grow and go off to college and careers.
What was your greatest mistake in the work you do?
I think starting too late in the profession.
What has been your greatest challenge in the work you do?
Changing mindsets.
Are you proud of your first year as an assistant principal, assuming you served in that role?
Absolutely.
Are you an no, that's not for you. Are you proud of your first year as a principal?
Absolutely.
Who inspires you in your work?
My parents.
What book would you recommend for our fam out there this afternoon?
I would say all of Principal Kafele's book, but I actually have your latest book.
Oh, wow, what a blessing.
That's right.
Well, oh, wow, you got that, Dr. Lewis?
Hold on one second. I have it right here.
Oh, man, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, y'all blessing me. I appreciate that. Let me go to Dr. Lewis. What do you want to accomplish that you haven't accomplished yet?
Dang. A nationwide educator.
Are you satisfied with where you are professionally right now?
No.
Is there another gear to your leadership, or are you at peak performance now?
A question mark there.
What would you say to an AP out there who continues to face closed doors to the principalship?
One day at a time.
What would you say to a leader out there who's lost their passion?
Self-care.
What would you say to a leader out there who's lost their confidence in their ability to lead?
Self-care.
If Dr. Chantel Lewis was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Cool, calm, and collected.
If going to you, Dr. Q, if Dr. Quinice Miller was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Energy
Dr. Jackson
and
Dickens.
love.
There you go. If Dr. Jackson Dickens, if Dr. Jackson Dickens was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Dedicated.
I love it. Let me say once again, y'all, I appreciate this. This was a big time session, a lot of information, a lot of inspiration, a lot of empowerment that was shared. To the fam out there, to the veteran fam, you already know how we applaud our guests because you've already started, and I appreciate you. But to the newbies on here, or the ones who haven't been with us for a minute and you forgot, the way we applaud our guests, if there was anything that was said today that resonated with you, if it's something that said that empowered you, something that you heard that you could utilize, you could take back to your school, hit us up with your favorite emojis, whatever they are. Just put them on your platform so that we can see them, so that our guests can see them and know that their time with you today was worth your while. So keep them coming. I see all that fire. I see all them hearts. I see all what you're putting on. So keep it coming while I grab my emoji. Mine is in the form of a baseball bat that goes with the Negro League jerseys that I rock every Saturday morning. I feel like I'm Superman when I wear these. This is the Indianapolis Stars, not to be confused with the Indianapolis Clowns. That's another team that Hank Aaron played for, but this is the Stars, and y'all came to the plate and you hit it out the park every time. The bases were always loaded, so you just brought them home with the grand slam. So that's a lot of runs that you batted in. I appreciate y'all, man. Great job, great stuff. Keep those emojis coming, y'all. Keep them coming, keep them coming. And appreciate it. We got 1,000 people, 1,000 real timers on here, and then we got about a little over 3,000 that have been on with us this morning. And then we know that most of our views are the ones that are the recording, so as opposed to the live. So a lot of people will see this, and y'all still got it coming. Keep it coming, keep it coming. So let me go. I don't know if everybody on the screen is a speaker. Or maybe maybe two of you aspire to become. Maybe this will be the spark, but certainly Dr. Miller is. So Dr. Miller, let them know how they book you to come in and speak, do a keynote, do a workshop, do a seminar, and how they get your book, and how they can follow you on social media or just contact you. Let them know all that.
Absolutely. Remember, it's my name, Quinice, and it's my brand. So if you go to www.quinice.com, you can see everything there. You can book me. You can see what I stand for, what I offer. I would love to come and just inspire, encourage, and really lift up your organizations, your teams with love, light, and energy. And so not only do I do public speaking, keynote speaking, but I also, like Principal Kafeli says, I do a lot of coaching, leadership coaching, principal coaching, whatever form of leadership you're in. I do that personal coaching, which is probably one of my favorite things to do as well as leadership retreats, just kind of bringing the teams together. So www.quinice.com, you can get all the information there, buy my book, buy one of these Lead with Love t-shirts, or just connect with me, whether you want to get something or not. I love just connecting with leaders, supporting and mentoring, and answering questions. I ain't gonna charge you for that, because you always need someone that's gonna be there for you to be able to bounce things off, so that you can go on this journey with success and with love. So I'm on all the social media platforms. If you just put in Quinice, Quinninise, you will find me, because it's kind of just me. I'm unique in that way. Not a lot of people named Quinice out there, but definitely I look forward to hearing from you. I appreciate this time in this space, and I applaud you for coming to this academy, whether this is your first time or it's a consistent thing. I applaud you for pouring into yourself and loving yourself as not just a leader, but a human. And so it will pay off. And I look forward to seeing and hearing about all of the successes that you have in this thing that we call leadership. And make sure you hashtag Lead with Love.
Love it. And let me put this on the screen one more time. There it is.
All
The
teachers, all leaders, get that book. Yes, and it's very raw. The title is raw because it's on purpose, right? Because I need to get your attention, because the book is about loving and caring for our kids beyond your content, beyond what you teach, and understanding that you don't make just right now impacts, you make life impacts. So use and leverage this space and this time that God has privileged us to have with his children. This is God's work, and he's privileged us to have space to be able to impact, dictate, and determine the future of children. So use your powers for good and not evil. Get the book. I look forward to hearing from you.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Dr. JD, I don't know if you speak, but you should. So let them know how they can get hold of you and follow you, all that stuff.
I'm knee deep in the trenches. I work at Wings Academy High School. I'm in the Bronx, in the West Farm section. No, I do not speak, but this has just been a time right now. Principal Kafele, I want to thank you. I want to thank the women, the phenomenal women who I had the opportunity to share with this morning. And I'm just so honored, so honored. I'm going to continue doing the work. And this is just the start for me. So I love what I do. I'm on fire, 10 toes down, intentional, working for my babies, and leading with love, right? And being consistent, being authentic. And it's just been an honor. So thank you again.
I love it. I love it. Did you say the social media?
Oh, our social media is wingsnation1994.org. That's all about my school, my children, my babies. I am on social media. I am on LinkedIn. You can find me, Dr. Monique Jackson Dickens.
There you go. Good stuff. Dr. Lewis, I don't know if you speak, but you sure should be.
You know what? My mama didn't used to say that. I tell people, well, that's one thing about fluency. I said, you'll tell people, slow down when you get older. So let me just say this. Thank you. I'm so humbled. Dr. JD, Dr. Miller, whew, it's just nice to be up in your presence. As Black women, it's just, I mean, you guys are powerful, powerful. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna keep up with this. I kept taking the halls trying to keep up. He tried to come in a little bit. I said, no, we gonna get this, baby.
Yeah.
We doing it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Kafale, for just taking a chance on somebody who walked up to you. You probably said, give me your resume first. You said, okay, let me do a background check, FBI check, but that's okay. I appreciate that for doing that. But I could be reached at I'm on Facebook. Chantel C. Lewis is spelled on the screen. Also, I will give my email address, drchantelclewis@gmail.com. I like to go out and do PDs. I've done one on imposter syndrome, so I'm pretty astute to that, educational equity. And also what I'm doing in Ohio for the Ohio Summit for Teachers in June 11. Matter of fact, if you're out in Ohio, come to Columbus and visit my PD. I'm really into generation learning and also teaching and leading, and how different generations are in this society right now, and how we're all getting along and how we can teach one another.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So you all out there in the fam, you got the information. So let me say to you all before you all leave, I appreciate you checking in for week number 255. That's a whole lot of these sessions. And again, as I always say, that's consecutive. I haven't missed a Saturday in 255 weeks. That's 6 years, right? So in fact, we got our 6th anniversary coming up soon. So stay connected. Let somebody know they can watch the video. Everything is on the, whatever you watched it on, we're there. But you go to YouTube, the AP and New Principles Academy, and you'll see all of them, right? All 255 and more. You know, I got a lot of other stuff on there. Some of my keynotes, some of my interviews, you know, a lot of stuff on there. So just go and visit. But let me close out. You, the three of you, my guests, stay on, right? Don't sign off when I close out. But to everybody else, next week, 256. Jersey's going to be in the building, specifically Newark, New Jersey will be in the building. I got 2 assistant superintendents, and I know them both, Dr. Shakira Miller and Samantha Lott Velez. They will be on with me, and we're going to have a powerful conversation about principal and AP leadership through the lens of the assistant superintendent. So there's going to be a lot to say, but we'll be Newark, New Jersey in the building. Tell a friend, tell somebody, tell a family member, tell a colleague, tell them, tune in. We're going to be on fire. Next, make sure that every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, Sean Hurt, that's Facebook Live, 10 o'clock Eastern, followed by Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor at 10:30. Then yours truly, the AP and New Principles Academy at 10:55. And then on Sunday night at 7, the PDP podcast with Josh Tovar and Dr. Madi Moreno. Make sure that you check us all out every weekend. Saturday, Super Saturday, and then Sunday rounds us out as the Fantastic Four. Gotta plug it one more time, y'all. It's on fire, man. I can't even keep it in one hand long. It's blazing, right? It's blazing. There you go. Got more in there. What is my value instructionally? Not what is my value to the teachers I supervise. What is my value instructionally to the teachers I supervise? That matters, right? So you can go to ascd.org right now. You can go to Amazon right now. You can go to barnesandnoble.com right now. I just don't plug them because they don't sell me in their stores, right? So they sell me online, but they don't sell me in their stores. They got other ASCD colleagues in their stores who happen to be my white colleagues, but I do not see the Black colleagues in the Barnes and Noble stores. So I tend not to plug them. I've gone to them for several times over the years, and I've asked them. I'm one of the biggest sellers of ASCD books in the company. Why are my books not in the store? And their answer is because the people don't come in asking for your books. So you're telling me that all the books in your store, that everybody's asking for those books. Nobody comes in and stumbles on a book that may have a catchy title, that maybe this is something that would be good for me. They already know what they want. You really want me to believe that, right? That's not the case. So I don't plug them. So ASCD, Amazon, right? And if you got to go to that other one, then go there. But when you order from them, or the next time you visit a Barnes and Noble, do this for me. I say this all the time. Go to the front desk clerk and say, do you carry books by Baruti Kafele? And then they'll go on the computer and they'll say, oh, we have them, but you have to order them. Say to them, but why don't you have them on your shelves? All his books, his ASCD books, 7 out of the 10 he's written, this one, well, 7 out of the 9, this is too new to be a bestseller, but 7 out of the 9 are bestsellers. So he's writing best-selling books. Why aren't you carrying his books? See what they say, and then let me know in the chat, right? So get yourself a copy. The moral to the story: racism still exists. That's the moral to the story, right? Because I should be on the shelf. But anyway, let's move on. Where we at? School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele, July 15 and 16 in Raleigh, North Carolina. Just go to principalkafele.com, scroll down, you'll see it says Instructional Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele. Click the link, register. I'd love to see you in Raleigh this summer, man. We're gonna have a good time, man. We just talking instructional leadership, and you get a free copy of this book. And the entire presentation will be this topic. This is the topic. What is my value instructionally to the teachers I supervise? So don't think, well, I read the book, I don't need that. Man, you know we going past this, right? We're going to go well beyond this. So come join me in Raleigh, July 15 and 16. Subscribe to the AP New Principals Academy YouTube channel. Subscribe. Don't just go there. Hit that subscribe button. We got 23,300 subscribers. That of course I'm blessed by that, right? So I ain't gonna sleep on that. That's big time. 23,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, but there's over 300,000 administrators in America alone. So we still want to grow. So just hit that subscribe button and then hit the notifications button to let you know that I'm live, right? So whenever I go live, you'll get a notification, right? Visit principalkafele.com for all my additional resources. And then lastly, as I close out, your diet. I close this way for now 255 weeks. Make sure that you're eating right, y'all. I mean, are you going to deviate sometime? Yeah, I mean, it happens, man. Last night I sat here and ate two packages of Skinny Pop microwave popcorn, man. I shouldn't even be telling you that. But I was watching basketball, man, and I was a long week on the road. I was worn out. I said, let me just eat this popcorn while I watch these games. So every now and then, but you can't make it habitual, right? So your diet, your exercise, get that in, right? Yesterday, I did not want to do no 3 miles outside in these Jersey City streets, but I didn't want to go to the gym. So I went outside and walked my 3 miles, man. Fast, I do it real fast. It's not like a slow stroll. It's a nice little pace there, but I got it done, right? So make sure you get yours done. And then lastly, your virus precautions, man. It's sickness in the air, y'all. It's bad out here, right? It's bad on those airplanes. So make sure that you're taking care of you. And that's right, Ty Feltman. Popcorn is the best snack. I came out the womb eating popcorn, man. That's just my snack. It's unbelievable that after 64 years of being on this planet, that I still love popcorn over everything else, right? It's just my thing, So me and Steph Curry, he a popcorn junkie too. So I just can't shoot like Steph, but I can eat that popcorn like Steph, right? So anyway, y'all, I appreciate you being here. We will see you next week. Make sure you have a good week. Be safe while you're out here too in these streets. So so as I always close, have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Flip it. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist back. Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I'll see y'all next Saturday, 2:56. Be there. Y'all stay on.